Anybody in trouble. I'm trying to work their way out of it and cause a problem, a lawsuit or whatever, or a claim or whatever.
So if you went to, I'm going to
segue
into the DOLA thing. So the reason that you're short is because of the DOLA projects that we've done.
Right. Well, it took the county several years to build up the inventory they had when I got here. And it took me 3 years to get rid of it. So, and that's not me. That's DOLA, and that's the things we're able to do.
All the projects we've done.
Right. So, you know, we could go buy $1 million crusher, too, and increase our production 50%. But what if I don't get any more $1 million dollars either?
Yeah.
So I don't know that I want to go that route. And I'm not saying I won't be in here to visit with you about a crusher in the future, you know, at least the cone, a bigger cone. But we'd only increase our production 15%, not enough to catch up. That's the problem. Because I studied that with Randy real close. I said, why don't we just go buy a $200,000 crusher? And we calculated out, I can't catch up by only increasing 15%, not without a $1 million plant to go with it, you know, to get double the production. So
if you had another crusher, would you have to have another crew for it, or can you run 2 crushers in the same pit?
You could rent a crusher, and we could do all that, and then the parental rates on crushers are about what this cost. So, you know, we'd have a lot of headache and liability. We'd have to have more guys.
That's what I bet it's going to take personnel to do it too.
So is this pretty important to you? You think we should do it?
Yeah, I do. I personally think we should. I mean, I can table it for a year and see where we're at. But
when you look at that, your chart there on where your inventory is and where you're at, you're in a pretty good deficit.
Well, the material that McClain was spoken for, it's going to go to some roads in here in Cortez. It's just a matter when we get the trucks available after chip sales, we'll do it. And material in Mancos is none. We got 4,000 ton, and the only reason I got that is because I traded the city of Mancos out of it. You know, so we're zero there. The material at Ormiston is going to be used out there. We got plans for that this fall, but we've also made agreements with the Forest Service to quit trading. We made 80,000 ton, so they get 8,000 ton in their inventory, but theirs is coming out of Mancos because it works the Forest Service better. So in the big picture, we're already 4,000 in deficit in Mancos. That 4,000 sitting there is half of what we owe the Forest Service from last year. It's just one story on top of another until you finally say, you know, we need some help there. And this is a good thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a good thing. What we've done is accomplished a lot of work quickly, got a lot of roads rebuilt, and now we need a little support with our materials to get back.
How much the Forest Service going to pay you for that job you did on 42?
312,000.
What's your direct cost in that?
About 180. I think we're going to come out of that about 70,000 back to one of these other projects.
Could that go in? Could that money be used in?
Absolutely.
Well, it sounds like to me you've already made enough profit to
We don't
take care of it.
Oh, we don't quite call it profit.
Well, no.
And a lot of it's the allocation of our people. I mean, the biggest cost that we have is equipment and people that we're going to pay, whether they're working or not, or sitting and drinking coffee all day long. The equipment costs don't go up, but the personnel costs.
Yeah, that's the tricky part of this whole spreadsheet is $192,000, put 30,000 ton has to come out of reserves. 21,000 is really what it costs, but you know, it's like if my crew was sitting around, they wouldn't be behind. You know, if they're crushing. So how do
they're not sitting around.
So how do I could probably make this up over a couple of years with that crusher if I don't do any more DOLA.
But you don't know if we're going to get.
Well, I plan on applying for more. You know, and I think as long as we have Kinder Morgan,
absolutely,
with their CO2 and their disruption on the roads, and I mean it's just it fits right into what DOLA is designed for.
Absolutely.
Do you have another section in mind of where a DOLA request might come next?
Yeah, let me jump ahead then. Okay. So because it does tie back to this DOLA, and I met with the engineers last week with Russell Engineering, which they're very good at writing these grants. And I said, I'm out of whack here. I need to get balanced out. I never know what I'm doing until it's too late to make adjustments with materials or money or budgets or whatever. So we should have applied already in August. Well, usually in July and August I'm busy, you know, so I'm kind of like, I forgot about this part. So What we'll probably do is wait till January before we apply.
Instead of December?
Or
December
we'll wait
1st?
till December, right?
I think it's the next.
Yes, and instead of it was too late to make the August cycle.
Right.
So we want to get on cycle to either be approved or not approved before the construction season starts. In other words, we need our approval January, not June. Because by June it's too late.
Yeah.
I'm already too late. I can't move fast.
You can't
enough.
adjust everything enough.
Yeah. So Road BB, 6 miles, has got to be rebuilt. Road Y and 16, the Yellow Jacket, is 3 miles. It's got to be rebuilt. Road S going to Haycamp, absolutely, because there's 1 million trucks a year coming in and out of there to support that industry. It needs to be completely rebuilt, and I mean rebuilt.
Yeah.
So there's several miles and a lot of money that's coming up, and I can't see doing it all in one piece, but I can sure chunk it into chunks over the next 3 years or 4 years or whatever. And engineering agrees with me. We need to go after these roads, and maybe that's the best way to do them is split them up into groups, chunk and a chunk and a chunk, which helps in the. I personally think it helps the committee with DOLA fund us better.
Yeah.
When you go ask for $1.5 million, that takes half of their money, or whatever,
Yeah.
a high percentage of money, I should say. That's harder to give away than $300,000 here and $300,000 there.
Yeah.
And County agrees with me.
Well, another issue is, our new DOLA representative hasn't started yet.
Right.
September 1st or is
Yeah.
it September 30th? I can't remember. Ron something Danelli. I can't remember. But that, where we had Ken Charles talking to us a lot more often, so that kind of helps.
So back to the crushing, then it's going to give us a little time to recover before we start the next wave because of this rolling this application cycle into a better fitting application for us, a cycle for us. Because right now, all that needs to be ground up. I'm getting tired of paying for grinding when DOLA can help me because we don't have our contract in time. I can't wait till June to grind it and then July and August and do all the work it takes to get ready to chip seal. I need to be grinding in April or March or April and letting it set for 30 days and heal up a little bit while we do the culverts and do different things and then be ready to go into a gravel hauling cycle. I can't get there with the cycle we're on, so I need to skip one here to get there. So there's going to be a little lag time between the next application and crushing that we might be able to catch up part of this. But I don't know that I can ever catch up to all of this without doing something here. And that's why I'm thinking 30,000 ton at a minimum. 40, it'd be nice, but it's a bunch of extra money too. So I'd like to keep it around 200,000 out of reserves to take care of catching up. So, and then I think I'd be back in pretty good shape with our crusher and our production rates to get caught back up. We got about 8 days of chip seal left, and here goes 7 belly dumps.
Yeah.
We're going to hit the road. We're already behind. So, you never catch up.
Do you think, is the Forest Service going to reapply for the flap on the Dolores Norwood?
That's a good question, Larry Don, and I don't know what their plan is, but I made it very clear to them when we met with our last little job schedule meeting over there on 42, it's time to move towards Dolores. Your forest includes Dolores too. We've done a lot of work at Mancos in the last 3 years. We've gravelled a lot of roads, and we've took care of a lot of issues that they needed help with. And it's time to go that way. Now, whether they do it with flap or they do it with construction funds or what, but I'm being assured by Pete that he is going to take that to the table, him and Cody, and they're going to push to get more work in the Dolores area, which is going to knock the heck out of our Haycamp reserves, because that's all needs to be done with Haycamp. So
that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
So if you had the stockpile in Mancos and something breaks loose, that would be very helpful.
Mancos, well, there's two choices, and if they do choose to go to Dolores Norwood, and I'm not saying they have to do this, if you really want to chip seal it, we really should use Haycamp. If you really not plan on chip sealing it, which is their option, it's their responsibility to put surface treatment on these roads, then we need to come out of Mancos. If you're going to gravel it with Mancos. It's the best you got.
Got better clay and PI in it.
And hopefully someday we'll own that road. And if we do, there'll be enough time will go by that it'll pound that clay out and we can go ahead and reshape it and chip seal it like we've been doing. But if they did something in the immediate future, like next summer, and they think they might want to chip seal the next couple of years, we really should use Haycamp. But again, they may not. They may say we don't have the funds for that. Let's go with gravel, and then I would use Mancos. So.
The one thing about this is that, to me, is you've created a product, you're going to use it. It's not like this.
And it's not gonna go bad.
No, it's not going, yeah.
It's got a good shelf life.
No, that's a good point. You're
Yeah.
just,
Well,
well,
it's not,
trust me, it's gonna get used. If
Sure.
it wasn't, I wouldn't be asking
Yeah.
for it. So if I thought I could catch up and be okay, I wouldn't be in there talking about it, so,
I got
you
you.
know, so.
Commissioner Lambert, how do you feel about this proposal?
I'm for
Which one? The 30 or the 40?
whatever you need.
I think the 40, I think you ought to, if you're gonna get them in there, get as much out of them as you can.
I think we should target 40, and if we end up with 30 because of
Yeah.
weather or whatever, we're gonna be
Yeah.
happy
Yeah.
with 30. I'm glad I got 30. It's better than nothing,
Yeah.
which gives me 34,000 on the ground, but, you know, with our trade out with the Forest Service on Ormiston, and I'm using Ormiston. I mean, I got 80,000 tons sitting there. It's already targeted. It's ready to go.
Right.
The 3/4 we're gonna put on them roads in the spring, and the 1.5 going on them dirt roads this fall. So
Mhm.
it's
already committed.
And, boy, you need to cut the hay while the sun's shining.
Thank you.
Those things-
That's exactly right. I mean, this is one you do that with, yeah.
Not very often do you get the opportunity to where you have them sitting there and be able just like that to come in.
Right.
So,
Do we need a motion for a budget adjustment for the road and bridge? Is that
And I
how we
think,
phrase that?
if you can approve it this way, then I'll be bringing a budget adjustment anyways, because we've got to adjust for the money that's come in from the Mancos too.
So all we need to do here
It
is
just authorize him to
authorize.
Proceed.
contract
I would
Greenwich.
move for the authorization of $256,000 up to 40,000 tons of crushed gravel for our road department using Weemanuch Construction Company to do that crushing.
Second.
motion is second to approve the road supervisor $256,000 budget adjustment in favor of Weemanuch Construction for crushing of up to 40,000 tons of gravel. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. And one of the things that on that, not to change the subject, we are going to help them with the stripping. That got the price down. They don't have to do any stripping. I've got a dozer. We'll put our dozer in there, and we'll make sure all that's stripped back. So I
So
should
they'll
say
be able
that.
to get right in there and
Yeah.
just go at it.
Right, exactly.
Good.
Or we could have had them do it with a lot more money. So I said, no,
Yeah.
we'll take care of that part. That stuff I can handle. You know, we
Yeah.
got dozers and equipment to take care of that.
Yeah.
Culvert update down McCamel, we got it under control. We
Good.
are looking for some prices to do boring still, but we're also looking at using an open cut method. Maybe we'll be able to do it later this fall. But we were able to use the big vacuum truck that DNL had.
Clean that thing
We
out.
found the bottom, was able to put another culvert in it, tip it up, and get it up out of the location it was at, and it's draining and everything's stable right now.
Mhm.
So we are on standby with some safety involved. We're not getting that rising water up and down and washing the road out. So
Yeah.
we're good. So I want to kind of update you on that.
Good.
We have an opportunity now, I think, to fix some of our issues with water, getting water out of the Toyoak Canal. You want to bring that one up? This is Highway 160 going out there just before the fairgrounds. This is that big old red storage building facility.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the siphon that goes across the Toyoak Highline Canal.
Mhm.
So this is an easement road. It's a red road, but it's also a Bureau Reclamation easement. Right there is where we get water out of a vault to go up to the racetrack. Well, we have 25, we can create 25 pounds of pressure there, where we don't get any pressure at the racetrack. You have to pump out of the system.
Mhm.
If we try to pump out of the system at the racetrack, then we will collapse the line with our pump trucks. We'll actually suck it in and break the line.
So we just explain it again. So that's the vault. That's the
This is
head
the
gate.
Bureau, this is the Bureau Reclamation vault, and this is our little vault. The county owns this vault. They come out of their vault into our vault, where we have valves and piping going up to the racetrack.
And we have that underground that Tanner uses now.
Right.
That
That's
arrow.
what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
How far is that? That's quite a ways, isn't it?
A long ways, yeah.
So that's where you're losing your pressure.
Absolutely. And elevation. Elevation
Going
is.
up.
Oh, yeah,
It does-
climate,
it's
climate.
weird.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it is.
Yeah.
Water doesn't run up.
So we were actually, can that scroll up a little bit? I think I included it here. Yeah, there it is. So there's a gentleman that lives up here, and he owns this property. His name is Jerry Baca. He owns this property, And he was working with us to give us an easement back down the old canal to put in a 6 or 8 inch line back down to the fairgrounds. Well, the elevation difference didn't gain us enough pressure. And it was a $50,000 investment from the Toyac Highline Canal to go put another head gate in. And we didn't gain enough. I mean, I had engineers check the pressure downhill versus getting it there. We're actually better off here. So we're not going to spend $50,000 on a head gate now, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got the Bureau out there and we got the NVI out there, and everybody looked at it and they think this is a grand place to do it. They met last week, the Bureau did, with all their committee, and they're going to do a informal agreement to allow us an easement access here to drive our trucks out on there, a little pad back up, and we'll cut into this line, which now that it leaves the Bureaus, it is our system. It belongs to the
You
county.
can do whatever you want,
Yes,
up
sir.
behind it.
Cut into that line, put in a riser,
Yeah.
and if we can't force our trucks in with 25 pounds of pressure, we can pump there. They don't have an issue with us pumping right there.
You're not going to collapse anything by pumping there. You've
No.
got plenty of volume.
So they've located their fiber optic system. I've got to do locates for anything else up there because, well, you know, it makes me do that. But once we figure this all out, we'll probably come in after a chip seal and hydrovac it, find everything, find all the stuff, dig down, cut into that line, put in a T and a riser with a valve. I think I need a valve. And it all drains with the system in the fall when they drain the system for Tanner. It'll all drain that back down, and there's no frost problems or freeze problems.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it leaves that system correct for Tanner to continue doing what he does.
Now, I will be honest with you, if we're loading a truck there,
He's not
Maybe-
gonna get
Maybe-
anything.
it might be a few minutes longer loading his,
Might
but
drain him down a little bit.
the
but-
good news for Tanner and me both is most of his work is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and ours is Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday. So I don't think there's a real problem. And after September or whatever, it goes away anyway. So, you know, I think Tanner and I get along well enough that we can sure organize something. If he's getting water, a big event,
He said that and he walked in.
we'll steer clear of that location.
He heard his name, and here he is.
His ears perked up. But you know, it's you know, like fair time or something that's very important. We just steer clear of that.
Just steer clear of that,
we just
yeah.
will. Just a little communication goes a long ways there.
Yeah.
But I think we've got ourselves at least something resolved in the fact that we can draw our water off of the system that's allowed us to draw water off of without any legal issues, and MVI's helping me put it together. So that's a good deal. So
And the Lord, and they're working with you, John, on the,
They said they would. I both left the woman a voicemail last week, and I emailed her. Haven't heard back yet, but that's the idea. That
we got the
we're
winter
working
to
together.
fix the,
Do you you need to do any upgrades to that road, or is it good enough? Is it
no,
gravel?
actually the road is in good shape. I'll have to do a little bit of I think what Lloyd Johnson's afraid of with NWCD is he probably doesn't want our big old trucks on top of their siphon pipe.
Yeah.
So we may come in, find the pipe, put a pad, their loading pad, and run a 20-foot hose over to it. You know, just don't
Stay
back
away.
out.
Stay away
Right.
from that line.
But this part of the road is in pretty good shape. This is a gravel road here, and this isn't too bad, but it would be a minor upgrade. It'd be very minimal. So just so we don't get stuck, we got a little rain or something. But it is an easement, and that's the problem that I just said all along that it's a good idea. It's all fine and dandy, but I'm going on somebody's property here. Whose property is it? Well, the Bureau of Reclamation has an easement right there,
Right there, so
and they
you-
were willing to give us an agreement to use that as that access. So I'm going to meet with Brandon after this meeting and go get some of those details worked out and
That
get it in
sounds
writing.
like a nice solution.
So anyway, that's one more chip.
Yeah,
Out of the problem.
one more chunk off the block.
Yeah,
Huh?
so,
Real good.
okay. Right on money.
Sounds like you got plenty on your plate.
All right.
Plenty on your
Any
plate.
questions? Okay, good.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Get them after it.
Okay.
All right, we have the landfill monthly report with Shaq Powers.
Morning, Jack.
Hi, Shaq.
Good morning, Shaq. Did you see that nice new delivery I made down there to you?
I did see that right in front of my pickup.
That's what Chris said. He said, we're going to unload these right in front of your truck.
Yep.
A washer and a dryer and a sewing machine.
Sold them the next day. So.
Did you really?
Yes, sir.
You did?
Boom, boom.
Just like that.
Wow.
Didn't
Wow.
take long, so
Well, good. Good on you, man.
Wow.
thank you.
so if you have something useful, Shackle,
Shackle,
repurpose
find
it.
somebody to fit it.
I'll do my best.
How many people
How
do you have
long
coming
are they
down there?
used
Are you seeing more people coming down and shopping?
You know, in July it kind of sloughed off a little with the rain,
Yeah.
but it's picking back up.
Picking
now.
back up, yeah.
So, but I mean, our average transaction is $5. So
Yeah, it takes a lot of people, doesn't it?
well, and if you want to scroll to the bottom of that, I can show you what we did.
So it'll just grow though, the more
Sure
word of
it will.
mouth,
Sure
the
it
more
will.
people.
Sure, yeah. So
Sure it will.
with your average transaction of $5, that's what
That's
we
a
brought
lot of
in with the bad
transactions,
weather.
partner.
So, well, we're doing okay. I won't complain about that.
Good deal.
Do you keep going?
Yeah, we're doing well. I'll just show you we're up a little bit compared to what we thought we would be. We finally got some money off a plastic truck that we got rid of, but we didn't make any. In fact, we lost $6 a ton because of plastics being so low on that. But we're working to correct that right now. You know, we're looking to hire somebody to sort them, and so for stuff that's more thoroughly sorted, you get a slightly higher price. So we'll see how that works out. And as these markets crash with China closing up, we're trying to stay ahead of the curve. So when I present in October, hopefully I'll let you know how September went, and hopefully it'll be positive.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I saw that the city was adjusting something in their
Very good.
recycling.
They're going to try and further sort their plastics and paper ahead of time, and they're no longer going to be accepting glass. So
What are they doing with the glass now?
right now, they crush it, mix it in with the street sweepings, and bring it to us when we push it out for cover. It's mixed with soil when it comes with us. So that's what happens to it now. So we won't be out anything as a community on that for sure.
Go down?
A little bit, please. Let's see, still paid out quite a bit in cardboard. Cardboard markets are staying stable because Walmart and Amazon are both shipping so much that they're demanding a lot. So cardboard seems to be staying pretty stable
good.
right there. And if you want to go down to the all the way to the bottom, unless anybody has questions about one of those deals.
Have you gotten the trailer for the tires yet from that?
We do. We have it filled up.
Oh,
They
great.
haven't come to pick it up yet.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
Is that just from accumulation?
Picking up the tires, so they're taking over to that, where the auto shack on
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs. They bring the trailer for free, we load it up. Shack's paying, they're only paying
I'm going to have
$2.
to pay transport.
Yeah. but we have-
In theory, we're going to see what that costs
See
when
what
they
it comes
unload it.
out.
What they're wanting to do is they have a concrete plant and they're using them for fuel, and they're trying to find tires. So if we pay the transport, supposedly they're going to take the tires at no cost, which will allow us to take them for about $2, we think, for fuel.
Oh, wow.
But we're going to wait and see
Right. Until you
what
make
this
sure.
first one comes out to
Comes
be
out.
before
How
we
do they,
adjust our
they must
price.
put it, they burn
They
it?
burn them, yeah.
They're using them
Yeah.
for fuel, correct. And they have all kinds of filters on their deal, so they're not polluting when they burn them.
And then I wonder what they do with the wire.
Well, apparently it's hot enough to melt the wire. It's
Really?
warmed up too. So
Sounds like it. Hopefully, I hope.
That'd be
hope it
interesting to
works.
see that.
Mhm.
you know,
Well, and maybe that's something we ought to do when we go to CCI.
Yeah, that'd be a
That
good,
is a good
that'd be a
idea.
good
We could-
idea.
Put
Schedule.
one of those out there in Pleasantview.
Jayla's smiling, she's smiling.
there is a little bit of a glare mixed in with that. smell.
Yeah, right.
But, uh,
There are daggers flying out of there too, yeah.
Yeah. So we've brought our dozer repair cost for the year down to, we're only 72 in the red now. And Kinder Morgan's in the middle of doing the cleanup, so I'm thinking we're going to start depleting that number even quicker. The good
Good.
news is we still got September, October, November, 4 months to make that go away.
You're
So-
working,
And
you're
this is
doing
only
it.
We're
through
whittling it
July,
down.
isn't
You're
it?
better
This
than
is
half.
only
Only
through
through
July.
July.
You're
So we've
halfway
got
through it
August
right
coming.
now, aren't you?
Yep, we're
Yeah.
about halfway through right now.
Well, man.
So
Well, and
You're-
depending on what happens with the school, there may be an influx if they're able to
Oh, with the
work
demolition,
towards
yeah, with the demolition.
of
The
the
last
high
article I saw in the paper said they're waiting on something to get approved from the state, so.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell
We'll
you
see.
what,
They were gonna be done by the middle of April, so.
Well, we were supposed to
We'll
have
see.
15 days from what, the 15th of May on a
report.
report, and we're still waiting for it?
So, yeah, I'm not gonna hold my breath too much on the school.
Well, I think that they dropped the ball on not applying for the proper permits from the state for the next.
For the
Yeah.
demolition, oh, yeah?
I mean, what do you think if you know you're gonna demolish the whole thing? then
You'd already
you'd
have
already
that
have your
line.
second and third phase
Lined
applications
up.
in.
Yeah, so, not my circus, not my monkey, I'm just not gonna hold my, I'm not gonna hold my breath.
That's
on
a good
it,
way to
that's all
put
I'm
it. I like that, Shaq.
Eventually, some of it's they're gonna try to get some of it to them, I guess.
But my hopes is before the end of the year, of course, we'll have that number back in the black.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that'll be a great that'll be a great turnaround from getting kicked $150,000 to getting it recouped in the same year.
Yeah,
So
hopefully.
one of the things, if that does happen, we just talked budget adjustment for Rob in that case because we had additional expenditures that we weren't expecting for that dozer, but we'll also have additional revenue to cover it. So we'll probably have a fairly big budget adjustment for Shack too.
You see, one thing that we had originally built into the budget was getting new dirt moving equipment because we knew that tractor was dying,
Oh, yeah.
which we purchased anyway, but we haven't made a payment on it. The county's given us a small loan on that, so we're not going to be paying on that
Right
loan until
here.
next year, but hypothetically, that makes that a much bigger number, yes.
Yeah.
That's what,
But you're whittling that thing away.
Yep.
That's good.
So that's
So how's
where-
business been? Is it pretty active or?
You know, it slowed down a little bit during the rain, but man, it's picked back up. We've been humping down there. It's been
Just fall seems to be does it increase the usage as far as?
so. Yeah, fall will be the last big push. Everybody's trying to get construction projects done. The schools are going back, so we'll get their initial stuff from all they've ordered, and then once the tourists fall off and the construction kind of slows down, we won't be taking in as much money. And then the weather will get bad and people will stop doing their yard cleanups and stuff for a while. Until we get the really wet snows and they have to start bringing branches again.
Have you made any progress, Shaq? And maybe this is not the right time to ask, but you said you were putting 22,000 pounds of food waste into the
About
lake?
21,000 pounds of food waste a week.
Yeah.
So we've got our compost area built,
Yeah.
and we're ready to start taking it whenever they're ready. It's just getting the haulers and the supermarkets getting their part on board.
Yeah.
And they're trying to find the way that works best for them. And with our compost, we will be able to charge a better price for that because it won't be the biosolids, and some people are hesitant about the biosolids, which I can understand. So this will offer an alternative for that, and the plan is to charge enough with it leaving, which still won't be a horrible price. It'll still be cheaper than you could get it anywhere else. But we'll charge enough on the back end that we won't have to charge the hauler to bring it to us. So that'll help incentivize the hauler and the
Yeah.
supermarket.
Good deal.
So that's the way we're working on that.
Yeah, good.
So hopefully we'll have something in October going for that.
Good.
That's a win-win because when you keep the
Well, it
organics out, then they can't produce methane.
Right.
You save all that space in the
Landfill.
landfill. You produce a product that people want and need locally, and all the money stays
I'll tell
locally,
you
like
what,
the other.
that is
So-
you bet that is a win-win-win. I just think that's a smart move.
Hopefully by October we'll start having produce separated and being hauled to us for that.
Good deal.
So that's where we're at with that. So I'll just keep trying to run that red number down a little, and we'll see where we end up.
Well, look at the difference for this month. You anticipated a $30,000 loss.
Right.
And you made that's a $80,000 swing.
Yeah,
That's an $80,000 swing, and I want to say that's because I had anticipated buying a tractor this month, and that is getting put off till next year now, even though we've got the tractor.
Yeah.
So That's 60 of that 80 is right there, but still 20,000 up isn't bad.
No.
If you give me an extra 20,000 every month, I could make something happen.
What is that future sale 3B construction?
Well, ideally, what I want to do is start setting aside money for building future cells, so that when the time comes to build it, the money's already sitting there. Because that's
Good
one of the
plan.
most expensive projects we have, and if we can, unfortunately with this here, I haven't been able to set aside any of that, and that's why there's nothing there yet. But ideally, I'd like to set aside money so that when it comes time to build a cell, we're not trying to figure out how to pay for it and take out loans.
Mm-hmm.
Good thinking.
Yeah, you bet. That's good planning.
All right, well, you got any questions, comments? All right.
Can't believe you moved that the very next day. Huh? You're a
Yeah.
salesman. You are a salesman.
I think Rachel was the salesman.
Okay.
But either way, we got her moved. So thank you very much.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
thanks, Jack. Have a good day.
Tanner Young, the fairgrounds manager, gave us the monthly report. How's it going?
Good morning, Tanner.
Hi, Tanner. Hey. How's Melissa?
I'm good. I'm gonna be better tomorrow.
I'm good today, but better tomorrow.
I'm not complaining about today.
Oh, do you? Good for you.
Flies to Houston.
Just
Houston.
I'm not going to Houston.
Better bring some floaties.
Just to back up just a hair on Rob's.
Yeah,
you
what's-
heard the tail end of that.
Oh,
What
I
the-
did.
that he's building. They're going to build a water dock down there on the right off of the siphon
Right
down
over
there.
here.
They're working with MBI and
Where your
where your pipeline comes off.
Okay.
And they think that's going to be a real workable deal for them to take their water out there rather
Okay,
than
good.
trying to come up with that low head up by the time it gets up to the fairgrounds and stuff.
Okay.
the only thing that we'll need to deal with is just you guys scheduling. You know,
Yeah,
when you
if-
need water and they need water, because if they suck it out, you've got nothing to.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
it's like rodeo, and he said most of your activities are Friday, Saturday, Sunday on the weekends when your demand is, and theirs is usually more during the week. And
Yeah, there are times like Ute Rodeo, we're running 8 to 10 loads
yeah,
a day.
there'll,
You know,
there'll be
those are
special
fair.
times that they'll just let
And
you
we'll
have
just
it all, but
deal with the
Yeah.
coordination of that.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
of the things, and I, because Rob had talked to that gentleman, Mr. Baca, and Tanner's run into that gentleman.
Yeah.
Didn't run into each other,
but had visits.
I'm going to write a letter to him, you know,
Thank you.
explaining that, thank you for the
Yeah.
offer and this and that, but the temporary access that we granted you to get through the fairgrounds stops this
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this was going on, but we just kind of noticed somebody was going through there to their house all the time, and we thought, well, we don't want somebody's access through there because
Yeah.
then it's going to cause a problem during car races when the
Sure.
parking lot's jammed back there. If they're charging admission at the front gate, so on and so forth. So when I initially visited with him, he was very friendly about it, and I kind of put it on that. Well, we're trying to keep our people off your property, so we'll fence it off, or there's a cable there. We can lock it, and that way we don't have our people going through, because we have a lot of people drive through there, walk their dogs, ride their horses, so on and so forth, and we have no reason to be up there.
Right, right.
We don't. So
Why was he going that way instead of this way, you think?
I think because the ditch, the wash was flooded down there.
A little wet.
Oh,
Yeah.
And we're not sure for sure legal access to that parcel, and we don't go that far, is
Yeah.
down here somewhere,
well,
maybe
his-
County Road H or
Right,
something
his
like
actual
that.
access should be down there,
So-
not coming
okay.
across you.
We're not exactly sure. I mean, that's part of what we gave him time to do, is figure out what his access really is. But
Yeah.
this access is not a public access for him to get to his property, and neither is
And
this
is
road
the-
through the.
is there a county road that goes into his property from the other
I
side?
haven't looked at it. Part of it is, I mean, I figure that's his problem, not ours to solve.
It's
So-
the only road I know of there is the road that's along the canal, which I assume is just the access road for the ditch company.
Yeah, it's a
So
road.
there's
The
that
old
road there.
reclamation easement, yeah.
And does he has a house there?
Well, it was
Structure.
farmland prior, and I think it's a mobile. It's some kind of mobile facility. I don't know if it's camper. Or it's not
Trailers.
a real permanent. And previously, that was, I think, just pasture land. So, kind of changing the use of the property and a little bit of stuff, and we kind of got stuck in the middle of it. But I'm going to write a letter when I get back from vacation and give him 2 months. 2 months time to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Rearranges that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was friendly and responsive when I talked to him. I was just kind of giving him the heads up that we were going to close out. We're not trying to be a jerk, but we're trying to
Yeah,
keep people
trying to
off this
keep your,
property.
keep our people off his as
When
well.
do people
Yep.
figure out you'd get back there and you'd go when nobody can find you?
Well, yeah, and truth be told, we used to use that access a lot, especially when there was wrecks on the highway. Because it always seemed there was wrecks out in front of the fairgrounds, and,
Yeah.
and several times when there was wrecks, there are times when we've had cars, and we tried to stop them, but where you would have hundreds of vehicles going down that road. On two
Yeah.
different instances where they've shut the highway
We
down,
know.
when there was the crash in front of the
Of,
Baker
yeah,
Sanitation,
Baker Sanitation,
and
right?
then there was another one further east down the road. But there were people going in motorhomes pulling boats
Oh
Those
my
down
down
that road,
washes.
and that's steep. Going down
Horrible.
when you dive off in there, that's steep, and then going through the thing. We were waving them down,
Wait a
trying to
minute,
stop
wait
them.
a
Everything
minute.
else. Yeah, it was.
When I was down there, I didn't even actually want to walk across it because it was this full of mud.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So, so also by us putting that chain across it, that's going to eliminate that.
Yeah.
So. And it's it's his property. No reason for anybody on our facility to be over
Be
there.
over there,
So,
yeah.
yeah. And we have no reason to be over there unless a cow gets loose or something like that. So.
He's gonna have to jump that
Yeah,
cable, isn't he?
yeah,
Go
yeah.
jump.
Jump on anything they want.
That won't be a problem.
Yeah. So on my report, we've been busy.
Yeah.
Fairgrounds income $51,619.25 in user fees, and that number I'm awaiting the check from the Ag Expo on the sand side of stuff. We are getting all the sand donated, so I've been holding off on them because they were going to do an in-kind trade, but so now their bill's right around $7,800 coming in, so we're going to be right around
So
$59,000.
who donated?
Womenooch.
Wow.
Is there some way to show appreciation?
Yep.
Or some-
We gave him a gravel crushing contract.
Yeah, they. So originally we were just so you guys know, we were going to put straight sand in that arena. We've always used the sandstone sand from Billy Good, which works great. It's $8 a ton, but it works great. That's what we have in all the lower buildings and in the indoor arena. It packs well, everything else. This sand, just because I'm not familiar with it and it's not a sandstone sand, I don't know how well it's going to pack to make the rodeo dirt that we need to make. They've said they'll give us, if we want screen sand, wash sand, they'll give us whatever we
Whatever
want.
you want.
So I'm going to go down there and work with them, try to find the best solution. But after talking with the stock contractor at the Ute Rodeo and then some of our other customers, I'm hesitant to put, 100,000 tons of sand in there, or 10, what is it? I'm trying to remember how many tons it was. I think it's 100,000 tons of sand in there, and then have it just be a bottomless pit. We need something for rodeo dirt that'll pack, but not too hard. It's a real fine line,
a hard measure,
especially for every one of our customers we have, they want it different. So what we're leaning towards is using 60% of what we were going to originally use, and then mixing it in with the dirt we have, which already has the binding agent, with a little bit of clay in it.
and clay in it
Yep.
already, yeah.
And then using it that way, so we can still get a pack to it. We can still, make the ground as manageable as what we
If
want.
you need more or want more, you can get more.
Exactly.
How are you gonna mix it?
It'll mix in over time with our
Okay.
arena rake. Yeah, our arena rake will go down 7 inches. So
Yeah, you've got that,
yeah,
you got a really.
and we got a
good-
tiller too. We can go in and till it and mix
Yeah.
it. I mean, it'll take probably a month of working it every day to get it the right mixture. But I think that's going to be the best scenario for us because it's a double-edged sword. You want it to hold water,
But
you know, for rain, but then
you
at the
want
other,
it to sub
or-
away
yeah,
too.
yeah, exactly. So it's a real fine line,
Yeah.
and it's going to be a learning thing because we're used to the sandstone.
Yeah.
So
I'm amazed at the difference between having the indoor, when they pack it, it's
Oh,
like concrete.
It's like this table.
And
Yeah.
then when they're having events in there with the horses and
They
things like
grind.
that, where you can't even, I can't even walk across it because
It's so fluffy.
so it's amazing that you've got something that can go either
Change
way.
that, Yeah.
yeah,
change that.
and on our ground, I'll come to something here that's not in the deal. We're getting we're pretty well respected for our footing out there, I think, which is nice.
That's
It's
good.
taken a long time.
That's a good reputation to
Yeah.
have, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's where we are on our income. Our fairgrounds attendance, 65,187.
Do you know what that is compared to last year?
Right about in the same line. I should have ran that figure. I actually ran it. I just didn't write it down, but it's right there. We're on track. So, and what really boosted that was the fair. The 28th and 29th of July, we had the fair car races. They were rained out Friday night. Then they ran a double header on Saturday. So Saturday during the day, they ran Friday's race because they had people from Des Moines, Iowa, Yuma, Arizona, I mean, everywhere.
So they did a
Everywhere.
daily doubleheader, huh?
Yeah,
Good
there's
for
a
them.
lot of Arizona guys coming up here for whatever reason. I don't know, just the heat down there. I know some of the tracks have closed, but this is kind of starting to become a destination where
Well,
a lot
they
of people
said
like
they
to
said
go.
with Aztec closing, we talked to that guy that's running the race. He said that
Yeah.
this is going to become
It is a
what
hub.
that used to be. Yeah,
Yeah.
hub for
I
that.
actually-
That used to, that was,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, I actually had a monster truck person call me on Friday. They're coming through. They're going to be here September 16th. Wanted to do a monster truck deal at the fairgrounds, but we have car races that night.
Oh man.
And I'm hesitant to do a monster truck thing in the outdoor arena because we're going to be picking up metal. And,
Oh, yeah,
and
those
everything.
things.
I don't want to do that. So, anyways, the racetrack is a perfect place for that. So I put Kevin in touch with them to see if they could work something
Maybe
out.
combine them. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Boy, that would be.
Or even if he can convince them to roll it to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So normally to have a monster truck thing, normally you have to pay them to come in, and their package starts at about $17,000 to pay them to come in.
Come in.
Well, they're wanting just to
They're
rent our
wanting to
facility.
come. They're
Yeah.
renting. Wow.
They're just passing through. So hopefully maybe they can get something worked out there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a guarantee, but
Oh, that'd be neat. That'd
it's
be
nice they're starting to contact us now. So
There you go.
It would be neat to have something like that coming every year.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And that's what I told Kevin, even if it doesn't work out this year, get him on the books for next year, move your race a weekend off.
Absolutely.
And
Change it up just a little bit and have
yeah.
a monster truck.
might as well have him involved with it since he's the primary one that uses
Sure.
the track. That way there's coordination there and it'll kind of help him out too.
Is that
Absolutely.
something they want to be a night event, or could it be a day event? Or
I think they're
one
one
night?
night.
I think that's to get better crowds at night
Yeah.
than they do in the
Yep.
day. Yeah.
So that's where we're at on that. The county fair, the 28th of July to the 5th of August, I thought it went very well. I thought they did a good job. I estimated the crowds. This is just my estimation, looking at cars, talking to the fair board and 4-H and everything else as to what we see. But we estimated 13,000 people through
Boy,
that time
that's
frame, which is up slightly from next year. The way it kind of worked out, all the days. Like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, not the big days, but the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those days were up. There was more people there for sure. But what hurt them more than anything was the fair car races being rained out on Friday, and then there wasn't a real good crowd on Saturday because the weather wasn't good.
Yeah.
So in actuality, that brought them down 1,000 people from what it was last year.
1,000?
1,000.
My gosh.
But their numbers on all
Were
those
still-
other days on the average
Picked them up.
picked
Yeah.
them up.
Nice.
So, and that's just my my guesstimation, but I thought it went very well. The next weekend we've kind of been going car races. The 11th and 12th, the car races were there. That went well. The 12th we had a barrel race. It went well. 18th and 19th, another car race went well. 19th, commodities giveaway went good. The 19th, we also had a new junior rodeo in the indoor arena. It went well. Coming up this weekend's a big weekend. The Labor Day High School and Junior High Rodeo is there. That's we'll have typically 120 horses stalled there. All of our RV spots are full. It's a pretty big
Be a
event.
good weekend.
Yeah. So we have that going on, and they're actually running a team roping kind of as a fundraiser on Sunday night after the rodeo. They're going to have a team roping in there. So that's coming up this weekend. The 9th, we have a commodities giveaway, and actually where I was referring to our ground for the arenas and such. I got an email this morning from the person that does our barrel races that they're unhappy with the ground at Durango and never going back. And they're wanting to move their next 2 races here. So that's the 9th. We'll see whether it happens. But the 9th, they're wanting to have another barrel race, and then the 16th, I believe, is their finals that they're wanting to have here. So, so yeah, that'll be going on. Then the 15th and 16th is the final car races for the year. That's the same weekend that monster truck deal was wanting to come in. The 6th of October, we have the high school cross country meet, which brings in, I mean, there's a pretty big crowd that comes to that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy thing
And it's
to see.
normally on Saturday, but they're doing it on a Friday afternoon
Oh,
this year.
really?
Yep. And then the very next day, the 7th, in the indoor arena, we'll have the 4-H day during the day where all the kids come in and discover what 4-H is. And then that night is the 4-H Achievement Awards, their year-end awards we do in the indoor arena. Then we slow down, come into our slow time, the 14th, commodities giveaway, the 4th, the commodities giveaway, the 4th of November. Teen Maze, last year moved to the fall. They really liked it, so they moved to the fall again this year. So they're going to be the 15th and 16th of November. And then we start rolling into our junior rodeo season, the 18th and 19th of November. So,
I'm afraid to say, but you had a 2 or 3 week section in there where you don't have anything in
I
between
know.
there.
It's nice.
It's good. I just probably homage you, and you're going to have 5
Oh, I'm
events
sure.
now.
Yeah, there's stuff's going to fill in. Not
Are the
every
lights
weekend.
working well now, out on the highway, the solar night lights?
They work good. They just don't light all the way across, and I haven't done anything yet on that. Like I say, I want to put more LED lights facing out to the north off our sign to try to meet that happy medium to kind of get that coverage.
But does it need to be below the sign so it doesn't deter from the sign, or how do you?
We're gonna have to
if
play with
that's
that. Yeah, I'll have to
weird-
get with the electrician on what they recommend because we don't want to take away from the sign for sure.
Right. But I think that sign's cool though. When you're driving at night,
Oh, yeah.
you can
Oh,
see
yeah.
it for a long ways.
And I think, well, tell me your opinion. Do you think we have it right for the amount of seconds that we leave it up?
For your
Wait,
next
wait,
one,
wait.
I think you do.
It's taken a while to figure
When
it
you're
out.
coming from the west heading east, you can read about three different
Yeah.
programs coming up before you pass it.
And I try not to put more than 4 messages up
Yeah.
there because you get much over that, it gets confusing. And I've been putting them up for 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And it
No,
seems
I
to-
think it's pretty good.
And
I love that sign. I look at it
I
every
do
time
too.
I drive by.
Yeah.
And I need
It's
to
been-
watch, because I'm watching that one and this one too. There's certain colors. Green writing, it depends on what the background is. I can't remember
There's
which
a
one.
couple
There's a
of them that are
couple
hard
of them
to
that are a
make
little
out.
harder, and when I
read,
figure
yeah.
out what they are, I'll write them down.
Yeah, write them down.
But there's a couple that makes it a little harder to see.
The
and some
one
that are better.
The one thing is I try to keep the letters as big as possible, so I try to keep it as short of a message as possible, so
Right.
it's not so hard to see. But
It's a good deal, though.
yeah. So yeah, that's what I have. If you guys had any issues, complaints,
I
worries,
haven't had a
Complaints that everything's going too well.
yeah,
Thank you, Tanner.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
good.
going to be good when stuff slows down a little bit. We're pretty wore out. So
It's been a long summer, hasn't it, buddy?
yes, it has.
Yeah.
Yes, it has. So all right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, Tanner, thank you.
And I see we have Mark Schnard here in the room for the maintenance quarterly report.
He came in this morning and said, "Do I really have to come today?"
Did he really?
How you doing, Mike?
You're so damn busy. Well, Mike, I can believe that. I
But
believe
tell
you're
her
busy.
they scheduled to do a bunch of stuff at the jail, so I got him a reprieve for a few minutes,
Yeah,
and he
give him a
got out of the
breather.
jail for a
Yeah.
minute.
Have you got all your workers hired?
One started today. He's welded a bunch of stuff at the jail. It's going to take us about 10 days to do the whole project.
Wow.
And he's a great welder. He's doing a really good job. So that's
What, are they having to weld up at the jail? 10 days worth of welding?
the bottom of the bunks. They got braces that go across. And one of the inmates got underneath there and kicked the brace off and used it as a tool to try to dig out the window and all that stuff. So we going in and we're going to weld every one of them. And it's just the bottom bunk. It's not the top one, just the bottom one. But there's 7 different pods we got to do. So
Wow.
they cleaned out C-pod for us today, so we'll do everything there. It'll take all day to do it. And then we'll just go, I told them maybe one a week. We can't do them all at once.
Mhm.
It's just too much welding, too much time,
Yeah.
3 guys,
Yeah.
So.
And if you weld it, then they can't kick it out.
Right, well, see, before, it's about that long. And they only had it welded in 3 spots, spot welded.
Oh, just tacked in there, yeah.
And the guy got in there and kicked it hard enough where he broke it off. and he used it as a tool. And, you know, of course, if somebody gets a hold of something like that, and a jailer comes in, yeah. So we put it off as long as we could and got this guy hired, and he's a pretty good welder, so he's doing that right now for us. And we'll get that done. Other projects, I never did hear from our insurance on the bid for the jail to replace those units that were damaged. I gotta find out.
The air conditioner from the hail damage,
Right,
yeah.
I haven't. It's been almost a month now, so I gotta call him. I can't remember his name. I have to get with Melissa, and we'll do that. We did get a price on a fair lift, the chair lift at fairgrounds. It doesn't work, and they say all the parts are obsolete. Can't buy them anymore.
On that, the one that Tanner just bought, the...
No, this is the lift for the handicap.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I was thinking of the scissor hoist, the hoist that I
Right,
got.
yeah, this one here, they're looking at $70,000 to replace it.
Woo! Wow.
Yeah, $70,000. I'm going to try to get a hold of Jerry from Cortez Electric to have him look at it. He's worked on it before, and he says it's just a bunch of safeties, but the company that does our maintenance on it says it's a board, and the board's obsolete. You cannot buy it. And if you can't buy the board, you won't run. You know, I'm not sure. I mean, $70,000 is a lot of money.
Ooh, yeah.
And Tanner says he doesn't use it that often. He says it's just...
Is there another option out there, Mike? Is there another option
I don't know.
other than...
I don't know. I don't understand why you know where it lives at, right?
No, I don't even
I don't
know where it's
know where it
at.
is either.
I've never
Yeah,
even seen
I
it.
found out just the
I've
other
never
day.
even seen it.
It's you know, they got that loft up on top in the fairground.
Yeah.
That's what it does. It goes from the ground up
Oh,
to
and
that.
take somebody in a wheelchair from the ground level up to that
Right.
loft.
Is it a shaft or does it go up the
No,
stairs?
it's just
Kind of like this one?
Yeah, but there's no stairs involved. I mean, well, yeah, there are stairs there. You're right. It does go up the stairs. I was telling about that lift
Oh,
for the fairgrounds for $70,000, which is pretty pricey. Yeah.
it's like this one, only it's straight.
Straight up.
Yeah, it
instead
doesn't
of
go
going
around the
around.
corner. It just goes
Go
straight up the
straight
stairs
up.
and stuff. But that's a lot of money to do that. So I'm gonna try to give the Jerry a chance to look at it, see if he can.
Tell Tanner to, on his platform of his new scissor deal that he bought, he can run that in there and put them on the platform, scissor them up.
There you go, and just
let
lift them up.
Yeah, if he doesn't use it that often.
And just dump them on.
No, roll them off. No, dump them on.
Yeah, that's one that's a lot of money.
Heck, you could buy a man lift for cheaper than that, couldn't you? Well, it's just,
Oh, I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
you
think
could
so.
stationary a man lift and
Yeah.
get it to work.
Mhm.
There was a way to get inside one of the rooms,
Yeah,
A door.
way to exit off of it.
But I don't
Well,
know
you know how they have that crow's nest or whatever? You could have a gate to the crow's nest. You know,
Take 'em up
if
that
it goes
way.
up, put them in the crow's nest, and that's the same level, and get them into the
Lift 'em up in
rooms.
there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How long has that been down?
It's got to be, according to the records, we have annual inspections, so a
It
year.
hasn't- Yeah, it hasn't
You know.
been- it did pass this year.
Right. So it
And I
must
don't-
have. It must have last year, but I don't know.
Oh, it did pass last year?
I don't. Well,
We'll have to
or
look
they
at the
would have.
records.
They would have told us.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
But it could be longer. It definitely could be longer.
We've had a lot of problems with these people, the elevator guys. We're just starting to get this stuff straightened out.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it's been,
Well,
it's been a nightmare.
it takes 12 parties to get something done because one person says, this is your permit, this is who inspects it, but I got to check the inspector, and I got to check the inspector who inspected the inspector. I mean, it's...
we have a third-party inspector that does
But it
inspections.
takes 3 or 4 people just to get an elevator inspection done because this one does the work, so someone else has to check it to
Check
make
it.
sure, and then the state has to check them. So,
So we get charged double for an inspection.
no,
basically.
triple, it seems like.
Yeah, we get charged quite a bit for inspection.
My advice, don't put elevators in buildings.
Mm-hmm. Stay away. Keep everything on one
Well, our new
level.
one doesn't
Money
have an
pits.
elevator.
No.
No,
That's
it
good.
doesn't.
Hallelujah.
We had one originally designed,
Yeah.
didn't
Oh,
we?
yeah. We've been having problems with the help desk tickets. I don't get them anymore, and Jim's working on a problem. So I can't give you any kind of record, but they wiped out the archives. And so I have nothing on help desk except for the sheriff, but everything else has been wiped out.
Hmm.
And
He's been busy though.
Yeah, he's been working on that now. He's trying to get that fixed. Sidewalks for Annex 1, still haven't done in the city. We're waiting on them for the sidewalks. Parking lot's going to be done in September. Whether the sidewalks are there or not, I mean, we got to do it.
Yeah.
And does the sidewalks need to be done first?
Oh, yeah, it'd be a lot easier if the sidewalks were
I
done
did
first.
call Phil with the city, and I did also read in the paper that they are having little problems with
They can't get a contractor
the contractor
to bid
to
on
do their
median
median
deal.
thing, so maybe they'll concentrate
Maybe.
on sidewalks. But I did ask Phil, I said, we need to do some paving, is there any way we can be put on the first on the list? And I think we're supposed to be one of the first people he's
Well, that's what
supposed to
they
be
told me.
contacting us,
Yeah,
so.
they told me we'd be first on the list because we have that big project going, so.
And I asked him to let us know as soon as possible so that we can
Yeah.
make
Well-
sure that we've got everything ready for him, but.
How does that work? Who does that? Do we?
They sub it out to like.
It's
I
a
think
cost
Daniel's,
share.
I think Daniel's
done
got it
most
this
of
year, I
it.
think, yeah.
It's a cost share basis.
So we pay part of it? Is that
Right.
how it works?
What was ours, what,
The
$3,800?
estimated, I think it was like 4,200 or something like that.
$4,200, yeah.
Part, and we've got it in the project of the paving.
Maybe.
So if they're gonna, I mean, we got 1 month.
yeah.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, and I've been bugging the city, they just,
You calling the right guy?
Evidently not.
I don't think I'm the right guy to call.
Yeah.
I don't think I have enough pull.
Well,
I think in an hour we'll be able to help.
Oh, okay, cool. I mean, yeah, we're waiting on them, and the guys from Four Corners said they're gonna drive by until they see that the sidewalks are started, and then they're gonna schedule the work to be done.
yeah.
But they're gonna do half the parking lot. That stuff's getting moved for tomorrow, the sheds. We're gonna try to move those sheds tomorrow so they're out of the way.
Good.
Because the sidewalk on the west side,
Yeah.
it's probably a 3-foot sidewalk, and it's really narrow, and those sheds were back right up to it, so the health department sheds, so we're gonna
Relocate
get those relocated, and so that hopefully we'll have a wider sidewalk. I don't know what
5
their
foot.
standard.
They're gonna go 5 foot
good,
sidewalks, that's what they
good.
told me.
So that's a big difference,
Yes,
going from
that
a
is.
3-foot to a 5-foot.
What will
so.
you do with the sheds?
Well, we're gonna take 2 of the sheds and move them past halfway mark, so they can pave it, and then when they're done paving, we'll move them back over, and then they can pave the rest.
I think one of the other things that we have is as we go through our whole move process, one of those, or maybe both of those, they might be able to get in storage inside the building, which would be a lot easier for them.
Yeah.
Because where those sheds are really makes the most sense to actually build a enclosed trash
Right.
facility and get us some more handicap parking over there, get the trash away from the building. But, it's a 2-3-step process.
Yeah.
One thing at a time.
One thing leads to
Sidewalks is the first.
Well, yeah, we're trying to get Annex 1 cleaned up. I mean, we redid the front, we did all the landscape in front,
Yeah.
we did the landscape at the senior center.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen that. We did that on Sunday, everybody volunteered work and did that on a Sunday.
Go by and see
It
that.
looks really
That
nice.
looked like that was.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah, and
Beautiful.
we missed some spots, but they kind of like ran out of material. And some of the people are putting their own money into it, so
Mhm.
we kind of, but it came out really good. It looks
Good.
really good, so.
Good.
And then once we get the asphalt done, the sidewalks, it'll be pretty good. We
That'll-
still gotta paint. Now that we got enough guys, we'll start painting that building where they restuckled.
Mm.
We went around and patched all around the building. so
And then
we'll get that done.
we need to repaint the inside. Maybe it's a nice winter job.
Yeah,
Spruce up the inside.
repaint and wax. We gotta wax
Yeah.
it too. We gotta get the floors waxed over there. That's another project, we got that young kid we hired, he's like 19 or 20 years old. Hopefully he'll work out good. I mean,
Good.
I told him he might make a career out of it.
Yeah, there you go.
If he wants to. I need to get a carpet bid for Annex. We haven't had time to get that
Okay.
yet. We'll get that going. We're gonna have to buy the lift for the new building, the courthouse.
To what?
Change lights. The lights are like,
Oh, yeah,
the lights
especially in
like
that
15
hallway.
Yeah, lights like 15 feet in the air.
I wonder how big is Tanner's?
His operator, you have to drive it in there on, his is a
Yeah, his is
rubber
big.
tire.
Too big?
Yeah.
We need to get a lift, like,
Yours would be a hard tire that would stay inside the building.
right. It's like a,
Is there a place to put it, or are we going to have to move it in and out? Do
well,
they make
moving
a-
it out. I don't think there's enough room to put it in there.
I don't think they have a.
And I
Storage.
have no storage whatsoever. But, like I don't know, were you there when I bought the lift for the school district? We bought a lift just for that purpose, for changing lights. And we bought a used one. It was like, I forgot what it cost, but we can get a pretty decent used one. It's got to go at least 20 foot, at least 20 foot
You probably better start shopping for one.
How do you haul them?
on a trailer. We got that dump trailer. We can put it on the dump trailer. We can buy that one dump trailer, transport it that way. Or we can leave, well, we can't leave it there though.
I wonder if so you don't think there's a place to put it?
You know, the only other thing that I'm thinking of is, can it be stored outside or no? It needs to be inside?
I wouldn't want to store it outside.
No.
You know?
The only thing that we have is there is a locked facility behind the building and also at the sheriff's office.
You know where we might be able to put it? In our equipment room.
In the mechanical room?
Yeah, that thing's
There you go.
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to store all our stock, all the extra stock that we get in that room, but we could probably put that list in there.
That would be a really good.
That'd be
Is
perfect.
that in
But
the
how could you get
Sallyport?
it through to get it to that hallway?
Yeah, you could drive it out. That's at the employee parking lot, right? Go out the
Right,
employee
yeah.
parking lot. You'd have to go around
go
to
around
the
the
end of the
sidewalk and go
building.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to come in. You know that hallway is really long, and there's doors right there.
On the
I think
west side? The west side?
the west side.
West end,
That's
yeah.
where you'd
Yeah.
have to bring it in, and it's only the main hallway, right?
Well, you got the main hallway.
No, there's some high buildings.
There's
Kiva room will have some high.
Well, and you could go through that and get to the Kiva. I
Yeah.
just don't know how you're going to get to the back hallway. 'Cause
Without going outside and,
do you know what I mean?
they're pretty maneuverable. You can get them in there. The only thing you got to worry about the crash bars, like maybe a little bit too tight with the crash bar, you might scrape.
There
it a little
is another door. Isn't there a door into the back hallway
Yeah.
at that
Yeah,
end?
there is.
So
Yeah.
it's a smaller door.
And that's the break room's right to the right.
Well, I was thinking on the other end, just
Oh.
so that you go straight into the hallway
Oh,
where it's
okay.
straight. You
Are
go
the
in
lights
there.
LED? I never even paid attention.
Yeah, they're all LED. And they're going to last a long
Yeah.
time. We're not going to have to change the lights unless something goes
So
wrong.
we do have a little bit of leeway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have some time to figure out where, what, and when. Huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Just to
But
get
if
something in there.
we have the space in that mechanical room
I think it'll
to
fit a
store it,
mechanical fine. I think it will.
let's get our occupancy permit and then get them all out of there, and that's where we'll put it.
Yeah, when are we supposed to get that?
The 17th.
Okay, because I'm still.
Yep.
It's 28.
I know.
I've got like 5 people bidding on the building to do the custodial, but I can't let them bid because we don't have any equipment that they're going to use yet.
Yeah.
You know, we got to buy the equipment too. So I don't know. Maybe I just get a list of the equipment and then tell them what they're going to use instead of wait to get the equipment here.
I think so,
You know.
because
Make
they're
some
going to be wanting to
adjustments
use
at
it.
the time.
Yeah,
Right.
they're going to be wanting, once
Yeah.
they move in, they're going to want it clean, so.
Yeah, I need to talk to you about down there. Do you want a carpet machine in there? I mean, it's all carpet inside.
I think we're going to have to.
Yeah.
I wish we wouldn't have put all that carpet in there. I think that wooden linoleum looks better than the carpet.
Or even carpet squares.
Yeah.
They would have went carpet square.
Squares where you
You pull it up.
pull it up, glue another one
Yeah,
down.
if they get bad, like, you know, you get a spot in the hallway that people
Yeah.
walk, you just pull the whole damn thing up and lay new ones down and away you go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but carpet square is the way to go. I came in too late to even voice my opinion on that
Yeah.
stuff, but carpet square is the way to go now.
Well, maybe we'll work our way towards that as things
Yeah.
wear out.
Yeah, carpet squares are good. I gotta buy trash cans for it, for all on the outside. I think we figured about $4,000, $4,500 for all the trash cans on the inside and outside that we're responsible for.
Keep track of that contingency money.
Will these trash cans be just like the ones out here? Or, well,
It'll be
out here?
similar. I don't know if you, the trash cans in the Justice Building, as you go in the old one, as you go in, they got the big ones with the ash thing on top. It'll be just like those.
Something like that.
Yeah, you know, we're gonna have to have some place for them to put the cigarettes. I'm sure they're gonna smoke out there. And we're responsible for what that was, outside building and anything public that we were
So
responsible for.
in the bathrooms and
Right. The
not in
bathrooms
the
all have them,
offices.
so we should be good there. I think
Those
that's
hidden
about
little
it.
costs, the hidden little costs of your new
Yeah,
house.
they're right. That
Yeah.
keep showing up and showing up and showing up.
So,
Other than that, that's pretty good. Uniforms for the new guy, did we want to start on my uniforms right away, or?
at least the permanent guy. We need to see if we can get a temp.
I
for the
wouldn't,
temp.
I wouldn't buy the temp, nothing. I mean, he's just a temp, and
Yeah.
if he works out good, I told him, you can learn, you get a chance to learn a lot of stuff from
Yeah.
all of us, and he can make it a career. That's why I hired young guys,
Yeah.
so they would stay here,
Yeah.
they wouldn't be
Yeah.
gone, so I think we'll be in good shape. So like jackets and boots, just go ahead and have them get that now to them. Okay. That's about all I have. Any questions?
Yeah, do you have any concerns about your job as far as anything need to be done different?
My job?
Yeah.
He wants a different boss.
He wants a new boss?
No, my boss.
Wow.
I just don't get no time off. I just gotta start taking time off.
Well, I think
I do a lot of hours,
having the having that fourth person
That's gonna make a
is
big
going to
difference.
make a
It'll
huge
help.
difference.
Are you the one that changes the flag every day? I see you.
They put it up in the morning.
Depends. I usually do this flag. Rich does the one over here. I usually do this flag in the morning. First thing in the morning, I do the flag and stuff. You know.
I see him here. They're here at 7 o'clock every day.
I think maybe
6:30.
Earlier.
Yeah, I'm here usually. I'm here at 6. I start at 6.
I see him. I know they're here at 7.
Yeah, my guys start at 7. I start at 6. I do a lot of stuff that when nobody's here, like blow off the sidewalks and whatever, you know, get that stuff done. So, but other than that, yeah, we got 4 guys now. So we knew the other guy will start September 5th, and we got a lot of projects that we're going to need 4 guys, and that's not even counting the remodel stuff yet.
Yeah.
So, and whether Mr.
People
Fuller
are-
comes back, we don't know. We're not sure if he's going to even come back. You know, so
What's
wait
going
on
to
that.
happen there, do we?
Right now we know that everybody's getting anxious about moving, but you kind of got to move the first person to get the next person in their slot. So people are going to be getting impatient about, well, why can't I just move? But
Yeah, I just got caught this morning. I can't remember her name. She works for Social Services. And she sent me a ticket, but I didn't receive it because the help desk was messed up. But you know, we got to move 18 file cabinets and 3 desks for her, but I'm not sure where they're going. And Social Services. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a big
That's
load.
a bunch.
Yeah, and I
That's
just
a
found
bunch.
out today that we got to do it Thursday morning at 8:30. So I'm not sure if what that's.
I have no idea.
They did this from office to office, and then we did the move over to the health department.
Do you have a heavy-duty dolly that you could just...
Yes, we got a refrigerator dolly and another dolly that I keep back in my truck. It won't be that bad. It's just.
Well,
not,
hopefully
you
it's
know.
not up and down the stairs. Same here.
I never thought about that one.
Guess who's going on vacation tomorrow?
Hey, your boss is gone, so have at it, buddy.
Yeah, really?
Have at it, man.
I can tell her we're too busy to do that kind of work right now.
You know, I mean, that's the one thing that I am telling people, you know, you've got to lay off on what you need these guys to do.
Yeah.
They're barely keeping up. And the jail is,
You got to prioritize.
yeah.
And the jail, it was an emergency. I mean, we want to get that fixed when somebody gets hurt. I know he wants a water line and electrical line to those horse corrals, but that's not really a priority to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can get somebody to do it. We're waiting for somebody to do it right now, so, but they haven't got to it yet. So, yeah, I think that's it. You think of anything?
All right, well, thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
All right.
Hang in there, man. Hang in there.
I am.
Train them well.
We don't want-
Train these
you
guys
know,
well. Yeah, train them well.
Thank you.
Melissa, are we going to address this cleaning bid opening?
There isn't one. So it's, yeah, you go ahead.
Okay.
Because the dispatch is at 11. There is no cleaning bid.
How you doing, Assessor?
Good morning, Mrs. Assessor. How are you?
Hello.
They're not all here yet.
Hi.
Do you have 10 minutes? No.
So this is just the pre-certification report that I have to send to the state. Preliminary numbers for the abstract at the end of the year. I have 2 copies that I need to have signed, but here's all your stuff that you need.
Thank you. There we go.
Looking at the numbers, though, we are down due to oil and gas and the 7.2% Residential,
change,
yeah, the
residential,
decrease
yeah.
in the tax rate for
Yeah.
residential. It looks like we're down currently about $54 million from last year.
What does that translate?
Yeah,
Depends on where it's at.
depends on whose levy we're talking, yeah. Our levy,
10.38 is our mills. General fund mills, I believe.
yeah, so, just,
So you take that 53 million times what percentage? 27?
no, this is assessed value.
Ass-
So we
oh,
would
that's
just multiply
assessed.
it times our levy to find out what we're gonna be short.
54 million?
54.
Well, she's working on that. I want to compliment you on your employees that you hired. I think you hit it on.
I'm so excited, so
Good.
excited.
That was impressive.
Yeah, totally lucked out on those two, I think.
Yeah, you needed a little luck.
I did. That was, like I told you, that was a bright day for me when I
Yeah.
saw some of those or applications coming
See, I
through.
don't know if I got that right. 54 million times 10, so is that 500,000? 560,000? 54, 182, 800 times 10.38 divided by 1,000?
Uh-huh.
562,000. $500,000.
Wow.
So our oil and gas is down 54 million. So the oil and gas took the biggest plunge in it, but then the assessment rate didn't help us out at all. Because actually our actual value of residential properties went up, but because the
7.2
the residential rate went down, it kicked it back down below what we had last year.
So that
I'll tell you, Denver,
$500,000.
you know, that east slope just,
Yeah, really messed with us.
yeah, that,
Well, it's going to mess with anyone that doesn't have,
yeah.
no.
A boom going on, and they're,
Yeah.
I don't think that's just not right. That's not right.
And, they're laying a blanket over the whole state.
Over the
It's
whole
just
damn
so
state,
different,
and it doesn't fit at all.
And we do hope to, we still have a little bit of time to pick up some of the new construction, but it's obviously not going to make up
Not
for
gonna
that.
make that much, yeah.
$54 million worth of homes?
So we were having a discussion on the way back. Did you ever find out, can the school do a sales tax instead of a
I
mill
haven't.
levy?
I haven't. I think that's a CD question. Colorado Department of Education. He was wanting to know, because the school district has announced that they're going to do a mill levy override question on the ballot.
Yes.
Larry Don was asking if they could do a sales tax instead.
I have no idea about that.
School finance is a totally different. Cam, do you have any idea? If a school district can do a sales tax?
Because we know the hospital did.
I honestly don't know. She's right, they have their own set of
Yeah,
rules.
Colorado Department of Education is going to be the one who.
Decide.
Yeah,
It's their ruling.
the school finance is a whole different ballgame.
The hospital district covered the whole county. The school district doesn't.
That's true, James, that's right.
Yeah, that.
Then I
Yeah.
don't know if that makes a difference in their sales tax ability.
It would have to.
It would, yeah, because you couldn't have to ask everybody at the store where they live. That wouldn't work out.
Well, if you're going to tax me more, I don't live there.
Yeah. Exactly, that's what people would say.
So how is the reval going?
We have sent all of our stuff to the auditor. We're just waiting to hear back pretty impatiently on this. I think I'm going to call him when I get back over there. I can't stand it. I passed the ag report. I did that last week, and I got the final numbers on that, and I got the flying colors on that one. We're still waiting on residential and commercial, though. Hopefully we know this week.
Do we, at that point, because of the hearings, the protest hearings that we had, so you're doing finishing the audit, you're going to send out new notifications, and then that gives everybody the opportunity to protest again. Is that correct?
Well, that gives the opportunity if you guys want to do your special session you had talked about, or just hear the few that we didn't hear at the CBOE the first time. That's something you guys need to decide what you want to do, because I need to put that on the back of the notices when I send them out and let everybody
What works
know.
best for you?
whatever you guys feel like we need to do.
The people that I contacted before, that said, it's useless to do a BOE hearing, I told them I would contact them again when the new values come out so that they would know, but we don't know exactly. Are they the only ones that get that consideration, or?
No, I think everybody
I
does.
think everybody has to, don't they, John?
Yeah, we either all or none, yeah.
So we maybe do that special session.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the only legitimate way to do it.
Do we have to pick a date for that?
We do. We need to do a date, and we need to, I'm hoping to have all the notices mailed out the 1st of October. So, in the mail by the 2nd.
How much lead time do you need for the
Usually,
printing?
that would be printed and mailed.
But I mean,
we
for
pass-
the date, if you have October 1st, when do they have to decide when that special hearing is going to be?
Oh, probably,
We don't meet again until the 11th.
yeah, we would need to know by then. Probably on the 11th to have
Why don't we
them
make a
printed.
decision right now? And then we don't have to.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
We might want to do this in the form of a resolution, though, too. I mean, we can pick the date now, but this is kind of,
And I'm still working on the form with the state to get that all done too. I have to, and I'll let you see it too before we send it out.
So what do you suggest?
I mean, we're assuming this is legal because the other alternative is to make them go directly to Denver to appeal. So we're trying to accommodate people, and there really isn't any history on this. The only history there is, it says as long as you allow them to go to Denver still, so they have a place to address their concerns, then that's okay. So we're allowed to do this, but we're thinking that we can also just do it here locally because that just makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we should maybe do a resolution for that. So maybe we just pick the date right now, and then, sometime in September if I feel like we need to do a resolution stating that we're having this special session.
Okay.
So how long do you give them after they get their notices?
Normally it's 30 days
30
on a
days.
normal notice of value, but if you want to do it kind of like we did it before, once they get their notice, they have, I believe it's 15 days to appeal to the CBOE. So I mean, we could do a 15-day once you receive your notice to appeal, or then go, it's just.
So that'd put us around the 17th, 18th, 19th, something like that of October.
And that's
Could we
kind of what
just
we were
pick a
shooting
special
for,
day
just to
outside
get it
of our
done
normal?
before the holiday started.
Yeah. So what do you think? 19th, 20th, 18th, something like that?
I don't
What
know
day
how
is
many
better
days we're
for-
going to need.
I can't imagine we're going to need a lot of days, right? I mean, what do we usually get?
How many did we have that
The
came?
people that I
over?
contact is about 10 to 12.
We should be able to do that in a day.
Okay.
Pick a Wednesday?
Wednesday's not a good day.
That's right.
Actually, that would be a good day.
How about a Thursday or a Friday?
Makes no difference to me.
Give them plenty of time to say the 20th? Friday the 20th?
Okay.
Is it okay, Commissioner Lever?
Okay. Friday the 20th.
All right, now we'll work on the resolution. So,
Yep.
John will get that with the other for us.
All day, like
Mhm.
just leave it open for the whole day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we'll have to have those scheduled a certain time. I mean,
Give each person a different time slot.
because let me see if I got this right, Kim. You'll send out the notifications on, is that right? When we set the hearing for Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and
Daffy and
Kermit and-
We'll start them at 9 a.m. and just see how many we have.
Okay.
okay. So then you need that one?
I need both of these signed.
Have to do
I think it's
probably a
just
resolution or a vote.
chair too.
Yeah.
Are these the same?
Yep. I just have to send them 2 copies.
I would move the approval of the Montezuma County 2017 abstract assessment to the Colorado Department of Local Affairs Division of Property Taxation.
I'll second.
motion is second to approve the abstract of assessment
for the Colorado Department of Local Affairs for 2017. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can we get him a copy? If you want to, if you can scan it, signature, it's easier. Do you need to show them where?
I put it on
Do
the
I print here and then, sign there?
Yes, versus.
Thank you for my humongous packet.
You can get another one in December.
We've learned a little
There's
system
more to come.
that I have to have these when we're doing putting it all together for DOLA.
Makes it easier.
Yes.
And we sent all the schools, we got them all mailed out on Friday.
Good.
Good. Wow.
You've been. Have you moved in over there? Do you have a closet and a bed?
I moved in, I wondered if I need a closet and a bed. I've moved in. I don't have much decorating done yet. Stuff's just laying around, kind of. The desk's there.
As long as you got a workstation, that's all.
Exactly.
Dual screens,
Yes.
triple screens yet?
I probably need them clear across my desk if I can get them. Jim's already giving me a hard time.
Tell him one more. One more screen.
One more screen?
Yeah.
I want the one on his desk.
It's got your name.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thanks, Leslie.
Thank you, Leslie.
See, she kept us right on time.
Yeah.
All right, we have the dispatch center meeting, and we have the sheriff and the
You
chief
might
of
need some more
police,
chairs.
Lori Johnson, and
There's another chair there.
Morning,
Good morning.
Steve.
yeah, how many
Good, how
chairs
are
do we
you?
need?
Morning, Steve.
4 or 5.
We can bring them up.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good morning, Lori.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hey, how are you?
Hi, Lori.
How are you? We got some questions for you.
Andy, you can stay back there. Oh, so we don't need another chair?
Okay, welcome all. Morning, Roy.
Hello, Keenan, how are you?
Good, how yourself?
Can't complain too bad.
Good.
Don't matter anyway.
No, they just look at you and laugh. don't
That's
they?
true, that's true.
Why don't we, before we get started on this, Mark?
You want to introduce everybody?
Yeah. Sure. We'll have them introduce yourselves.
For the public.
Start with the sheriff.
About what?
Tell the public
Just
who you
introduce
are.
yourself.
Oh, Sheriff Steve Nalla, Lansing Township.
Jane Hale, city manager.
I'm Lori Johnson, the dispatch supervisor.
Roy Lane, Chief of Police.
Shane, before we start with this business, we got a question for you. We're trying to pave the Annex.
Annex 1 parking lot.
Annex 1 parking lot, and they said we need to do the sidewalks before we do the pavement. And they want to pave it in a month. So Wade can help us out.
Cost
You got a blank look on your
shares
face.
That's why
sidewalk.
you can't get the approval.
We've
Is that
we've submitted the application. We just didn't know the timing of when they were going to start any of those projects.
How about we have the county administrator call me tomorrow, and I can get some more details. And see what
Okay.
we can do. Is that fair enough?
Sure.
I won't be here tomorrow, so I'll try this afternoon.
Okay, great.
All right.
Okay.
We got the
So-
dispatch center. Do we have? Oh,
No, go ahead. We just haven't, I think this is.
Haven't met in a while.
Haven't met in a while. I'm
It's been
kind
a
of,
while.
I'm kind of at a loss for where to begin, so, we were just, thought it was time for us to have a meeting with
Sure,
you guys. yeah.
Sure. I can bring you up to date to where we are.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
As you know, we built a repeater station up on
Cabinet.
Cavernous. I never came. And we were very lucky on that. Our first bids come in $800,000 or $900,000. Ended up getting it put up there for $274,000. We was able to refund the $30,000 to you and the $30,000 to the Plat
Yeah,
County.
26,000 each.
Yeah,
10,000
26.
back to you.
And 10,000 back
Thank you very much.
to
Well, and that, we should just make a point that was
thanks to Southwest Television District. Because they did a lot of work up there that
I got you.
we used
You
as
share a
match.
tower, you're sharing a tower with them, so
Right,
they
exactly.
they
And our
cooperated with you on that.
Well,
And-
it
and
ended
our-
up being more expensive for them, I think, and so we were able to use theirs as a match towards the grant. So that's kind of that's how it happened.
That's exactly.
and
Nice.
yeah, and the only thing that we pay is we pay the extra electricity it takes to run
Your portion.
our portion up there, and that's all we've
Is
been
it
paying.
doing the job you wanted? Is it?
It is. Mancos, for the most part, can get out on their pack sets, which they weren't able to before. It seems like when it's cloudy or rainy, they start having a few issues, but it's significantly better than what they had. So,
And I understand the same is true for La Plata County.
Yes.
And their dispatch.
Yeah, we was able to help the Cherry Creek area with this, so that's
Getting some of these dead zones that
yeah,
are
exactly.
now.
it even picked up a little bit on Highway 145, so long as they stay in there. They're not in their vehicles with that higher, higher, whatever it's called, radio.
And down McClain.
Yeah.
It helps down McClain. Wow.
Oh, that 800?
Yeah.
Good.
We are, at the present time, we're full up on dispatchers, or we have one starting the 11th.
And how many would that be?
10 dispatchers plus Lori. We have we've been very lucky. The last 2 dispatchers we hired, one of them had 11 years experience and the other one had 7. Wow. So our training time was way back, and so we can get them out and get them on the street. It's been the last 3.5 years. It's been a pleasure with Steve being the sheriff. Our issues have gone to almost nothing, and when Steve has a problem, he comes in, slams the door, and screams at me, and then we fix it. So
At least we know how to get it fixed.
that's it.
Conflict resolution right there. I mean,
That's it. First time he shoots at me, though, we're going to have a problem. I think the last 3 years, Steve, 1 year we had or 2 years we've had the biggest use. 1 year it was pretty close to a tie for the biggest use. So it's not like it's taxing either one of us. We're splitting it about 50-50. I think there's a few $1,000s difference in each one.
And what can you kind of explain to the commissioners
Yeah,
just
how
kind of
that
how we do
works.
that?
Our CAD system has a part of our CAD system that we can track calls. Lori tracks those calls, and if it belongs to the sheriff's office, or it belongs to us, or it belongs to the town of Mancos, or whatever, then at the end of the year, we take all of those calls, and by the number of the dollar amount, and that's how we do it. It's an as-used basis. It's not like it's $12.50 for every call. What we do, and it helps everybody out, if we have an accident where there's multiple calls.
Fire rescue, hospital,
yeah.
sheriff, state patrol.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we try not to charge everybody, just the initial agency, and that.
No, it's actually then split up.
Yeah,
So if you
okay.
respond to,
Very
if you
clear.
respond to an accident, then it's split between 3 agencies. 3 agencies respond.
But then we don't charge for every
Call.
Yeah,
It's
like
just a
if you have a
percentage.
fire, not every time they call in water do we charge them.
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's
got
just
it.
one call.
Yeah, the initial
initial call.
call out,
Right.
respond.
And then do we do minimum charge for our smaller fire districts? 'Cause
We
they're
do a
in that
minimum
5900.
charge. We do a minimum charge for
Anything 1%.
for Lewis, Areola, Pleasant View.
Lawrence Fire, Mancos Fire, Pleasant View.
So they just pay a minimum annual
Minimum.
fee,
Mhm.
and that's their.
And we also do the electrical Empire Electric. They contract with us to answer their emergency calls, and they pay the
And
same
they
as
serve
everybody
as well.
else.
So really your smaller agencies, they end up paying 1%.
Does the coroner pay 1% too?
No,
We give it.
slides.
He slides.
Slides.
You let him slide.
Yeah.
Prefer not to have any corner calls.
He slides, and so does so the district attorney investigator uses us quite often, and he slides.
Yeah,
And
because those are
social
not enough.
services,
Not enough.
we don't count social services, county coroner, the DA. There's any other county agencies.
Those come in on our channel anyway.
Yeah.
So,
They come in on
but,
your channel, but we don't.
You know, and I'll tell you, even with
count those.
with our calls for service that have increased over the last 2 years, they've really been a big help in trying to keep those costs down. As you see, it hasn't increased. We've been able to work a lot of things out, and trying to work with our officers not to abuse that too.
Right.
It has a lot to do with it. So, and every now and then
We have a whoops.
But
So,
it's not bad.
so what you're saying is how it works is there's a minimum charge on really small
Right.
ones, and then you take that off the cost, and then whatever is left, you split according to percentage of
Exactly.
Right.
calls.
Well, and we also have the, so from the 911 funds, the county contributes, I think, about $87,000 out of the 911, the E911 money, and that kind of comes off the top for everybody as well.
Okay, so a certain percentage comes
Yeah.
off the top, and then you,
Before we start saying
Okay.
percentage.
okay.
What are your Montezuma County additional dispatch?
That's the
it.
E911.
Okay, that's E911.
And I think that number's been
Same
about that, I
for
think.
the last 10 years. I
Yeah.
think.
Is that the phone tax?
Yeah.
It is.
That's
It
the
is.
problem.
So the commissioners do have, I've never really tracked that fund. I know when we talk about capital expenditures, that's really where we try to go, is hit
Right.
that fund. But, you know, you could consider, based on your fund balance, maybe increasing that amount that goes in, because then that brings it down for everybody. And I think the county's probably paying, I don't know, 40%. Yeah, is that right? About them 40, us 40, and about 20% comes somewhere else. So,
Yeah.
And that number, is that 70 cents? How does that?
That's
how does-
70 cents.
That goes into the 911 funds.
but it's
yeah.
every phone line you have. So if you have 2 cell phones, you're paying $1.40 a month into that. So it,
And interestingly, I've had a couple people call and ask, the statute says that they have to pay in monthly. So we have these offshoot phone companies that send us, 30 cents, $1.20, or, all these different things. And they said, do we still have to do that monthly? And I said, well, if that's what the statute says, I'm not going to change the statute. So we get a bazillion checks that are for $1.40, $2.60, because that's the carrier.
but mostly it'd be Verizon, AT&T, and Sprint. I mean, your big carriers are the ones who are probably.
I think this one that she's talking about is the new tax that they put on. It's not a new tax. It started the what is it? The Skype tax.
Oh.
The
How
phone
does-
calls for.
How does it work to say that I have my phone in Arizona, and then I move up here, and I keep that number? Does it transfer, or?
I think it's probably going back to Arizona.
Really?
Yeah.
Origination?
Yeah,
Where
I
the
think
phone
so.
was
I was
originated?
on the
Right.
911 board when I was in Grand County. The commissioners designated a board to do that. And I think we had that issue of a lot of second homeowners and whether or not the money was going back to Parker or if it was coming up to Grand County. And best we could determine, I think that it was going back to the origination.
And it may, because a lot of people keep their phone numbers, so it may also be based on your billing address. But if you have 2 homes,
Okay.
Right.
and your bill goes to Arizona or you pay it online, it's probably to Arizona.
We had a Western Conference meeting last Friday in Montrose, the 15 counties, and they were telling us about, it was a spokesman for the governor, correct me if I'm wrong, but about putting these broadband for first responders in like police cars, and do you guys know much about that, and how would that affect the dispatch center?
I only know this much about it.
Okay.
I mean, they've been down here. Is it the First Net? Is that what
Yes.
you're
Yes,
talking
yes.
about? The First
First
Net.
Net.
They've been down and have given several presentations on it, and it is supposed to be strictly for first responders. But
But that's nationwide though,
Yeah.
too, is a program
Right.
that's going nationwide, yeah. And that's a communications channel or frequency that's used for first responders.
Mhm.
And it's designed to reduce the amount of heavy use on everybody, and it takes it out of that. That's what I understand it's supposed to be for.
I see, and I guess my concern about it, and this kind of our region's concern about it is, so far the state hasn't got the 800 megahertz working well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why
Why do
do
we-
we want to start down another road when we need to get them to where they communicate on their day-to-day channel?
And that
let's
was a
fix
question
that.
asked if this would make that obsolete.
Yeah,
And
what-
what? They said no.
No, because it's more, it will be more on a cell phone side of things rather than on their
Yeah.
talk, person to person
Exactly.
talking. So it's
Right.
kind of a separate line of communication.
And our cell service here is terrible. We all know it, okay? It's bad. And so that's what we're worried about. It's like if they do that, they haven't even fixed what they need to fix. And here we're going.
And here they're moving on to something else.
Yeah. Whenever we started putting towers up, what, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that, 10 years ago, like with most things, we run out of money when we got to Southwest Colorado. And,
The forgotten corner.
yeah, and so,
That's interesting you said that. Is there like a plan of where we need additional towers in the
Yes,
There
there
is
is.
actually. So the Southwest region has a communication committee, and they have identified a need for, I think, at least 10 more towers, but they have 5 on the critical list. But it doesn't cover, it still won't cover
Still won't cover
Dolores County,
everything that
or
we have.
not Dolores County,
Dolores River,
River, River Canyon. And we got the West Fork Fire Department trying to get started up there at West Fork. I don't know if we're gonna have any communications with them.
Yeah.
He came in and was talking to me, and I'm like, I think the first thing they need to do is figure out if there's any radio they can talk out on, any channel, and then go from there.
With this broadband initiative, possibly can those towers work for broadband? I mean, if there's a 10 critical towers that you need for communications, and if we continue to work in this broadband arena, they're going to be using towers as well to...
But they want to piggyback onto the 800 towers, I think, as much as...
existing towers.
They
But
don't wanna build
I
them.
think everybody's fully aware there's going to have to be more towers
There's gotta
built
be.
in order
Yeah.
to
There's gotta be.
dispatch this broadband throughout the county. So maybe this would be a way to collaborate the needs and pool maybe private entities' money, private business money to help
make it
the
work.
communication stuff work as well.
I mean, if they're gonna do broadband to get
Was
to
it-
those areas, why not?
Why not
let
do it
the
with communications?
800
Yeah.
So was it late? Do you remember where that commissioner was from? The gate got it in the story. We were Keystone. I think it was Lake County.
Could have been, I can't.
He had an interesting approach. He said that they did a survey of the importance of broadband in their community, and it was like one of the highest priorities. And so they said, isn't it ironic that you have these budgets of counties, but they don't put any money into broadband? So they did $100,000 a year budget item.
Line item budget to go
Yeah.
for whatever needed to be.
Yes, and they streamlined their tower process to permit the towers, and they had 7 additional towers built with from the phone companies because of those changes, piggybacking broadband and cell service.
Could be.
So that might be an approach that could benefit everybody.
Yeah.
All I know is that, like, for the fire departments, the VHF is, I mean, it's almost like a daily basis. It just keeps getting degraded.
Is that right?
It
Worse
The
and worse. and
Dolores,
worse.
the Dolores Tower repeater that we have, we've replaced the repeater, we've replaced the coax, we've replaced the antenna. We moved the antenna to the top of the tower. There's nothing else we can do for the repeater site itself, and now the state's gonna put in a new microwave and they're moving it over into the chief's little building. So we're hoping, that's our last hope for that Dolores Tower, is that maybe that microwave link between the tower and dispatch will help improve.
And that's an effort with us and the state. They're going to do all of the work and provide all of the equipment. We're providing the building to house the equipment. So
is that
what that be for state patrol, or is that what that's for? State patrol, or
everybody. That's how you key the Dolores repeaters through that microwave.
That's how dispatch gets.
Yeah, that's how dispatch does. So we have to have that, but that repeater over there's got to be 20 years old, at least.
Is this in the building up there above Dolores? Okay.
Yeah, so they're replacing that microwave plus the microwave that's
down the building.
It's been on the Justice Building sitting up there. They're going to move it over to the tower.
These 10 towers that you guys have this priority, how much do they cost? And could we be privy to their locations, or is that information that's...
You can be privy.
They like to, some people like to keep it kind of secret. I mean, because it is
they want
open
proprietary.
to
terrorism
terrorism is what they're more concerned about. Somebody take out all your communication towers. But I can get you a list of them. I don't have them. And remember, this is the region, so we're talking Bayfield,
we're talking
Plat County.
Is there any in Montezuma? Is there just
There's
one or two?
I think they identified one, and that would be right there at the police department, which would give us backup, but it's I don't think it's going to help a lot of dead spots. It will give more coverage in the buildings, like inside of the sheriff's office, inside of Walmart, probably inside the court.
But it's not really going to expand your outreach into remoter areas.
But I think they picked it as a priority because it will be cheap to put up.
Yeah.
All we're going to have to do is pay for the repeater stuff, because we'll already have the tower, the building, the generator. So you're looking at whatever it costs for repeaters, which is still $250,000, I think, or something right around that amount.
But is there? You just said there's one in the county, and that would be that one.
That one, but there's
there's got to be another place.
Well, and I don't
especially
know how
up
to
the
make
river,
the river canyon is our
It probably
biggest.
needs 4 or 5 because of the way that it flows. And the Rico Tower does real good for Dove Creek, but I don't think it comes down very far to the south. It pretty much covers just that valley area.
At one time, farmers put a wireless link between Bear Creek and Pleasant View. It worked, not real well, but it did work. Whether you could do the same thing on the West Fork or not.
I don't know.
Might be something to look at.
But it did work.
We need to all go together and get our own satellite.
I was going to say, is there any way you can do a satellite?
No, I don't know that any of us can afford it.
I know
I'll tell you
that
that's
the hospital and Dolores Fire, and I don't know about Rico Fire. They have satellite phones in there in a couple of their rigs, not all of them, but a few of their rigs.
They're piggybacking off of which ones? Is that from? I don't know what satellites they're using to bounce that signal off of. I'm sure that there's some type of an agreement with emergency services or something that does that. But those phones are not cheap. Oh, they're expensive.
Well, neither are towers going up that river.
No, they're not.
There's nothing cheap about it.
Nothing
You're talking, if you put 5 towers on that river, you're talking about $5 million. For 5 or a half.
Maybe even a little more than that, because you would have to look then at, they would have to be solar towers. So you would have to have solar panels to actually.
Wow.
I don't think you could
So
do
that
electricity.
satellite might not be that far a reach for them to.
Right.
But if you was to say that the county and municipalities build a tower, you're going to get cell companies wanting to, and then you can charge them, right, per month. So you could, would there be a revenue stream that could counter the cost of the tower? And what is the priority of these towers? It seems like they're important.
Yeah. And you could look at that, and if I understand right, the cell phones and the 800 radio are pretty close in bandwidth, so they tend to cause interference.
Each other problems?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but you could do an agreement, I mean, you really could work an agreement that said, well, you can try it if it causes problems, or the minute it starts causing problems, then you have to remove it. I mean, that's...
And I wonder though, if we really would need 405, or if we just need like a super high tower, you know, if we just need to get over everything, right? I mean, if we're going from Rico, and I wonder if we
It's
get.
the way that radio wave goes out, and it's line of sight for the 800s. It's line of sight.
Are there anything? Has anybody accessed the KBFC towers for anything? The radio towers down there? Because those have got to be what, 250?
Yeah.
300 feet tall? Has anybody ever approached them about putting something?
I don't see anything else on them.
And then you have the ones out at Goodman Point.
Yeah.
Is there anything on them, George?
There's quite a few different things, but a lot of it's not working. You know, like Cortez Fire, they have a repeater up there, but they shut it down 4 years ago, was it, or?
Yeah, it's been probably longer ago than that.
800 was 800. When they brought the 800 into us, it was not. We got sold a bill of goods.
Did you?
It's not what it was brought out to be. It was going to solve all of our problems, and I'm not so sure it didn't create more than it solved. So.
They forgot that we have mountains and valleys and
And trees and
But
And they were
then
expensive, right?
behind
Weren't
that
the radios
was the-
very expensive?
Huh?
Yeah, they
They're
are.
very
Yes.
expensive
Yeah.
radios.
Oh, yeah.
About
But
3
right
times
behind
what
that,
a
you have the
regular radio.
narrow banding of the VHF, so just to keep, and it's cracked it. I don't know, George, what's your opinion of VHF? It's
Horrible at best.
It's
Horrible
really
at best.
diminished the ability to hear responders in the field for dispatch.
Does anybody have what would be the ideal solution? Does anybody
live out on the east side where there's no hills.
yeah, live in a different part of the world. I got you.
where they can't grow trees.
Yeah.
It's just all
Seems like we
coming
need more
in.
towers.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
issue.
That's about all we got left is that. And I think the cell phone, because the cell services have increased so much, that I really think they have a degrading ability on the trunking system itself. I think that's what really limits.
You think
a lot
that
of it.
really is?
There's some interference in there.
Yeah.
There really is. I mean, we've had a couple of our pack sets that picks up communications that nobody knows who they are.
Picked them up and didn't have any idea
exactly.
how they got on.
It sounds like a telephone conversation. So, you know, I mean, it definitely needs to separate a little further, but that would be up to FCC or.
At one point, we were bringing in New Mexico and all of those places from way over there, and it was horrible, and we couldn't talk, and they couldn't talk, and they were mad at us, and we were mad at them. Yeah. I noticed we're about out of time. The only other thing that I wanted to bring up is we're end-of-life equipment and some of our dispatch equipment, and within the next 6 months to a year, we're going to have to start bidding some stuff out, and that we'll be back with you to talk to you about price, cost, way to finance, that kind of thing.
Do you have an estimate? I mean, are we talking hundreds of thousands?
Yes. Yeah.
600 to probably between 600 and 750,000. What we're talking about is needing to replace the recorder and the radio consoles.
See, those radio consoles we bought, they must be almost 20 years old, and they're parted. We can't get parts for them anymore. They're
Obsolete.
Everything's obsolete. And you go in every morning and you ask Lori, is everything working okay?
You say it very quietly.
Yes. So, but what we've been working with Motorola, and they gave us one bid that was completely out of whack, and we told them, the only way we can do that, you better take it back and look at it again. So we're kind of working with them, seeing what we can do. They have a program where you can lease purchase, that type of thing, but I don't want to I don't want to bring you information that's not complete, so that.
But it's coming.
It's coming. I just want you to know it's coming. But I don't want to bring it to you if it's not complete, because if I bring it to you not complete and then I have to come back and it's higher, you're going to think.
They will say, wait a minute.
Wait a minute,
Wait a
buddy.
minute.
So
we'll go with the first meeting.
Yeah. So we'll be coming back to you with that. And but most of that equipment is 10 to 20.
You think for the 2019 budget though, that'd be it's not something that's gonna
Yeah, probably. We're probably 6-8 months away from finalizing or looking at anything really good. And the problem is our recorder it's got to the point now where defense attorneys and the DA's office wants a recording of every traffic stop, all of this kind of stuff. Well, it's taken her 60% of her time to do those recordings, and it's because our recorder's so old that slow. I mean, you know, she can start recording, go to lunch, and go back, and it's not
done
So
finished yet.
are
Kinda
the
like
newer
our-
ones, are they like search? Where you can just search what you're looking for?
Supposedly, they haven't shown me that yet, but yes, that's.
You
And
want
it's
to see
probably
it?
digital. Is what you have now digital, or is it?
Yeah.
It is digital. Yeah.
And so, it just is very time consuming to do those recordings. They want, they want the, not only the 911 call, but they want every piece of radio traffic associated with that particular call, so it's.
So you have to search for them,
Yeah.
you know, if it takes 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever,
Right.
to get the bits and pieces for that one situation.
And we may have, what, 20 or 30 a week
Yeah.
at times.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Wow.
and all of the equipment that's in there now, with the exception of the phone equipment, which we did not long ago, was grant purchased. So
There are no more grants out there looking at you.
not any of them looking at that. We got that through. We got some of that through Homeland Security, and we got some of that through a company that we did. What do they call it?
I'm not sure what the other one was.
Anyway, but it was all grant oriented.
All right.
But just so you know, I pulled up our E911 budget for the last several years. It looks like we're running, you know, the fund balance is in that $250,000 to $270,000 range. So I mean, we're not really growing that fund, but I mean, as we look at these pieces.
And another thing to think about is we have the ability to go to $1.20 on the claims. That's something, if you guys, as an E911 board, if you want to do that, I will be glad to do all the footwork to get it going. I'll be glad. I've done it twice now.
What kind of time frame does it take to?
6 months.
6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we did that in Grant County. Same reason we used to get up to $1.25. Fewer cell phones, people, kind of moving out and doing different things, and the costs just keep on going up, and revenue streams flat or kind of going down.
We're pretty flat.
Yeah. If at some point in time you guys decide you want to do that, I'll be glad to do all the footwork and present it all to you guys, because you have to go to you guys, and you have to go to each governmental entity, Mancos, what you guys do for Dolores.
For each
Each
person that
town.
uses it?
Yeah, right, that runs.
Well, it
and
would be
so-
Dolores County, because they pay into our fund, and then the towns, the Creek, I guess, boards.
So, just a thought.
I'd like to see a priority on towers. I would like to, boy, if we put this one in this location, we're gonna get this much
No,
out of it.
yeah.
And we could, again, it costs money, but you can get engineers to do those studies to tell you, and it won't be 100% accurate, but at least you would have something to go on. Somebody who could do a study of this area using all of their.
I think
if you're going to pay $1 million tower, you don't want to just
willy-nilly them around, yeah.
Well, we think it's gonna work, but
But it
Well,
didn't.
Yeah.
We've had that, but it
In
passed.
that group we had do our broadband, I think we may have some of that.
It just, that commissioner from Lake County really.
Is that Aspen? Would that be the same?
Lake
Lake is like St. Christopher.
Yeah, way up there in the mountains. It's
He
all
really
mountains
changed- He
and
said it changed their broadband, it changed their
phone service,
phone
everything.
service.
And I'm sure it would change their,
Yeah.
your responders' ability.
Because
to
we did
count
not
on
get what we thought we was gonna get when we went to the youth.
You, yeah, didn't.
We thought,
That was.
and we were told that it was the cure-all. Well, it wasn't the cure-all.
It really helps south of town. So
Sure.
the officers patrolling
Sure.
down there,
Down
but
there.
it didn't help, like McCammell Canyon, it did not help. I think it helps over on Highway 140, the Hesper's Highway, helps them over there.
Yeah, over there on Breen and down through there.
And maybe just the south side of Cortez a little bit below the range, so.
All right, commissioners, any additional questions?
Thank you.
You bet.
I'll
Thank
send you
you.
an email.
Okay.
Mhm. This right here?
And I believe we have
Okay.
Lisa Bloomquist, is that
Yes.
correct?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good morning.
Hi.
Sorry, Larry Dawn's my name.
Lisa Bloomquist.
Keenan,
Nice to meet you. Very
Hi,
nice to meet you. Very nice to meet all of you, gentlemen and ladies. So, my name is Lisa Bloomquist Palmer, actually. I got married fairly recently, still somewhat attached to both names. I'm going to do a little presentation about the Homes Fund and the programs that we offer. Do you want me to put it up there? I have plenty of copies for each of you. We could just do it as a conversation. What do you prefer?
So we've had this presentation before.
So it's a bit different person,
Okay.
slightly different presentation. I believe that my predecessor, Karen Iverson, went over the program and told you kind of who we are, what we do, and what she's planning on offering to Montezuma County. And I'm going to go over what we have done in Montezuma County a little bit more.
That would be great.
So just sit here and chat. Do it that way? Okay.
What was the other way, the PowerPoint?
Do a PowerPoint up on the screen is the other way. So I'm going to kind of go through the presentation either way. So, kind of before I start telling you.
I can try to put it on here.
Do you want me to do it on? Okay.
It takes me a minute, so I'll let
Yep.
you start talking and I'll get it.
Yeah, I'll just say, like, kind of before I start talking about what the Homes Fund does, just kind of want to point out this is more of a national concern all over the place, but the middle class is getting a lot of pressure from a lot of different places, whether it be stagnant incomes or rising health care costs. Rising rents is something that's putting a huge amount of pressure on the middle class. Rising home costs are putting a huge amount of pressure on the middle class. And so we're talking about people who are working, who are vital parts of our community. And one of the few ways that people can really lock in their position as the middle class, or even invest in themselves and build up their position, is through home ownership. And so what the Homes Fund does is try to make home ownership possible for people who are in the middle class. So with that said, I guess I'll start kind of launching a little bit more.
I only have one port, so I have
Oh,
to
okay.
copy it.
Okay.
So I did
Yeah,
Adobe.
No worries. So, so Homes Fund has a variety of different programs that help to encourage home ownership. And I'll be going over those, but a little bit of background about us first, kind of on this first page. Homes Fund is a community development financial institution. All community development financial institutions provide capital to underserved markets. These leverage figures that we have.
Is that good enough, right?
I can't see.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yes.
I have to see it up.
You have to see it up there, yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is super complicated.
You might just want to do the page down to get
There
to
we
the
go.
next page. I think you can use this right here.
Okay.
The up and the down right there.
You're right.
Okay.
That makes
Sorry.
life easier. Okay. So these leveraged funds, we were capitalized by BP America with $1.1 million. We also got some money from CDBG and the CDFI fund. Those are both federal funds.
Where did your energy impact monies come from?
It's a good question, and honestly, I would have to look into the answer on that. I think it was a while ago that we got this energy impact money.
Severance money from somewhere, I would think. I'd like to know that if you can let us know that. Thanks.
Absolutely. So this is our loan fund capital.
Right.
The money that we lend out into the community. This isn't our operating capital, but we would love to take that loan fund capital and lend it into Montezuma County, and we have started doing that since a little bit over a year ago, about 15 months ago, is when we started offering our programs. So our programs are down payment assistance, homebuyer education classes, and one-on-one counseling. For our homebuyer education classes and our one-on-one counseling, we offer those to anyone, regardless of income level. Our down payment assistance is only available to people who are under 80% of area median income. So as you can see from this chart, it's that top yellow highlighted line. So for a household of 1, it's $35,750 a year. Household of 6, it's $59,250. We generally serve people who are in between 50% AMI and 80% of area median income. So really our working folks, people who are administrative assistants, people who are 911 dispatchers, people who are working retail, people who are working maybe
cashier jobs.
Cashier jobs. Even teacher starting salaries, if you have a couple of kids, are going to fit into there. Police officer starting salaries are going to fit into there. So so these programs are for home ownership, but ultimately what you guys are looking for, obviously, is a community that is strong and vibrant and sustainable, but I certainly would argue that home ownership leads into that. So a sustainable community is one that people have invested in. Smart growth policies demand that the workforce is able to live in the community where they are employed. We certainly see this as a big problem in La Plata County. I don't know if it's as much of a problem down here in Montezuma County, but people traveling long distances and living over the border in Aztec and coming over to Durango to work because they can't afford to live in Durango. Slightly different situation down here, but still something that is a bedroom community. Yeah. And certainly we lend to people to purchase homes in Mancos. Absolutely, there are quite a few people who are commuting from Cortez into La Plata County as well, and I'm sure you guys have opinions about that, but yeah, it has both good and bad. A strong community is one where people live, work, and play in the community. So, our homebuyer education program. Basically, we help to empower homeowners by giving them the information that they need to become successful homeowners. And this is an important part of our program. We have close to a 0 default rate. We've been around since 2008, and we've had 1 default in the entire time that we have been a loan fund, and that was not in Montezuma County. So certainly in Montezuma County, we could say we have a 0% default rate, and a big part of that is that we educate people before they become homeowners. We make sure that they're prepared. We make sure that they have a sustainable budget.
There's some kind of class they're required to take.
Yeah, they're required to take the class. And so within Montezuma County, we've had 3 classes in 2016 in which we educated 45 individuals and 33 households. In 2017, thus far, we've had 4 classes, 3 in Cortez, 1 in Mancos, and we have 1 more scheduled for Cortez in October. So far, we've educated 78 individuals and 56 households. So that's not limited to the people who are getting our down payment assistance program. Anyone can go through the class.
And how do you get your word out? What entities do you go to try to help you recruit?
So we run advertisements on local radio stations. We put up flyers. We reach out to lenders and realtors and ask them to refer people to the classes. Outreach is one of those things that it's a good question because it's absolutely necessary, but it is somewhat easier said than done, and you need to kind of get the ball rolling. And I think over the last year we've gotten the ball rolling as far as outreach, but doing more and more of that is absolutely necessary. Community newsletters, social media.
One of the things that they send us an email and we send it out to employees for them to look at. One of the things that we're trying to work with you and Pam, I think, is we have a department that's kind of wanting to have some budgeting classes taken. So we want to see how that works in that department, and then we might offer it countywide to all employees. I went through the class with my nephew, and it was none of us like to know what we really spend our money on, but they make you figure it out, and how many times you can buy Pepsi, and how many cartons of cigarettes, and all these things that we spend it on. It was very eye-opening. It was a very good class. I would highly recommend it to anyone. So that's what I'm trying to work through, getting it to one department, and then we'll. But it was very.
Thank you.
It was really good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And like Melissa was saying, we also do lunch and learns, kind of where basically we're happy to come down into a workplace and do outreach to the employees at that particular workplace. So our housing counseling services, it's more like kind of one-on-one version of the class, rather than just kind of sitting in the classroom and being able to get away with kind of, I think I buy $10 worth of coffee a month. You actually sit down with our housing counselor and our financial counselor and go over the exact budget and make sure that people truly are prepared for home ownership. So within Montezuma County, 19 families have received one-on-one counseling from us, and of all the people who have done both the homebuyer education class and the one-on-one counseling, 36 people who have received those services from Homes Fund have gone on to become homeowners. And we find that out through going through public records. It's a decent number of people, yeah, absolutely. And there are positive externalities from each and every one of those homeowners. Not only are they building wealth for themselves, they're more stable in the community. And there was a study done by the Association of Realtors saying basically that for every home that's purchased that already exists, half a job is created through all the expenses and externalities that people have. So is that 18 jobs created or sustained in the community? It's all tied together. All of these things are tied together. So our down payment assistance program. Within Montezuma County, we have shared appreciation loans for $15,000. Those have no payments, 0% interest, and it's due on sale, transfer, or in 30 years. We also have a building wealth program where we could lend up to 17% of the purchase price. First mortgage loan is 80%. We lend 17%, and the borrower brings in 3%. Wow. And I don't want to get into the weeds too much about exactly how our programs work, but that one helps people to avoid mortgage insurance, because mortgage insurance does not help out the homeowner in the least. It just protects the lender. So I'm sorry?
I said, so they say. 2009, that was a lie.
Well, yeah. Well, they have increased the rates accordingly to make up for 2009, and they got their bailout and yada yada. But right, it's true. In different economic situations, we could also offer different types of counseling services. A lot of the, right now we're offering pre-purchase counseling because that's generally what's needed, and financial education counseling because that's generally what's needed. If we go through another foreclosure crisis, foreclosure counseling may be needed, and we can offer that type of service.
Well, let's stay out of that category.
I agree. We prefer to stay out of it. So I started with Homes Fund in May, And before that, I was in the Denver area and worked with a variety of different down payment assistance programs. And I'll just say this is an incredibly generous down payment assistance program, much more generous than what is offered to people in the Denver metro area. So we would love to be able to continue to offer such generous terms to people who really need our down payment assistance. So within Montezuma County, we've deployed 4 loans for a total of $88,800 that leveraged about $667,500 in home buying power. So if you add up all those homes, it's worth about $667,500. Average of 61% AMI. Like I said, 0 defaults. We're really proud of, well, we've had 1 default, but that was in La Plata County, and that was a long time ago. But our very low default rate that is helped in large part by our education program. You know, we've had a cook, an agricultural consultant, administrative assistant go through our program, and it's really kind of the ball is rolling. It's gathering steam. So we also have some loans in our pipeline. We've got $56,250 that is set to be deployed in Montezuma County. Those are loans that are in our pipeline to be deployed shortly. That pipeline includes a single mom who's an administrative assistant, a retired couple, and a 2-parent household where one of those parents works in as a nonprofit worker.
So you're saying that 3 households are fixing to get yes.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, we've got the ball rolling. Yeah, exactly. So our goals in 2018 are to do at least 3 homebuyer education classes in Montezuma County in 2018, 10 one-on-one counseling sessions, and we can do those. We can come out here to do those, or if it's convenient for people, they can come to our offices in Durango. Our goal is to do at least 4 down payment assistance loans and create at least 10 new homeowners. From doing those activities, we would create $80,000 in down payment assistance, $750,000 in funds leveraged, stability in the community, creates workforce housing, empowers and prepares homeowners, reduces the foreclosure rate, and like I mentioned, half a job created for every home sold. So now is the hard part, where I say that we need to get funded in order to do this. We've looked at our operating budget, looked at the populations of the different areas that we've served, looked at the services that we have provided and that we intend to provide in each community, and have come up with a formula that basically looked at what the other communities were providing and decided that the ask from Montezuma County and Cortez would be about $30,000 to provide these services. So, like I mentioned, 3 homebuyer education classes, 10 individual one-on-one counseling sessions, and 4 down payment assistance loans. Apologize, I don't know exactly how the politics works between the city of Cortez and the county, or should be approaching Mancos as well, but we've asked them for $15,000. Would like to ask you for $15,000 as well to continue these services. Like I was saying at the beginning, the middle class is getting eroded. We want to encourage the middle class to stay and to gain wealth and to really, become more sustainable members of the community. And homeownership is one of the ways that you do that. And so we would like to respectfully request funding of our down payment assistance programs. So the way that we were able to offer these programs thus far is basically we got a grant from the CDFI fund to do the operations that would make for our regional expansion, except that grant basically will run out of money at the end of 2017. So
Is that where there was a transfer of something? What program was it? The money went from one program to, I might have to be confused on programs here.
I'm lost on your thought.
I thought it was this program, but we had another program in place and then it was swapped. Did we?
So I know that before we came on the scene, the Housing Authority was doing the homebuyer education classes, but we started doing the homebuyer education classes, but I don't think that that's what you're talking about, is it?
No.
Are you thinking it for contributions to, this is the first time we've been asked for funding for this program. Does that answer your question?
It was something else.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'm not entirely aware of what the official best practices ways. I mean, should I be submitting an application? Am I doing am I doing the ask right now? How does this
I don't know. I
work?
think we're going into our budgeting season here soon, and I think it would be appropriate for you to submit a request
as an organization,
requesting funding to help.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You send that to me.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Do you have like some sort of a formal application, or is it
usually
just,
we're pretty informal?
Just send over who, what, where, when, why,
why
and how of why we should.
Can I ask you how many employees is there?
So we have 3 full-time and 2 part-time employees.
And do you all live in Durango?
Yes, we do. We do.
And how much are you asking them about county?
So La Plata County gives us 180, between La Plata County and Durango, La Plata County gives us about 130,000.
Is there that many divorces? My gosh.
There was quite a few.
Anybody you know?
No.
All right, it's 1:30 and we're going to reconvene from lunch, and we'll turn it over to our planning director, Leanne Milligan.
I wish, is there any way we can wait for John?
Do you
Because
need
this
him?
is, well, this is something that we haven't done before,
Okay.
so I just want to make sure we can move on to the Clampitt one if you want to.
Is that the one that we're doing the final plat? Because we got to sign that. Oh.
We're doing a preliminary
Oh,
approval
I-
and a final plat all in one as long as you guys approve.
I was going to say,
Oh, there he is.
approve that thing.
It's 129.
I tell you, pal, I told him within 15 seconds you'd be here within plus or minus 15 seconds. You're good, John.
Yes, we're back.
Larry Don's early.
Okay, Leanne.
Okay.
We'll go.
All right, this is a property that's down in McClain. It's the Stafford and Lansing property. This application was started back in
14.
2014.
January 14.
Actually, it started in 13. It was just
Oh,
signed.
fine. There we
yeah,
go.
In 14, we've had with situations like this, we have the Mylar signed and recorded at the clerk and recorder's office, but in a lot of instances, we have around a dozen of them. There's never a deed filed.
They never finished.
So the transfer of property never actually takes place. But it's showing it on our maps. With something like this, just like a subdivision that hasn't been completed in 3 years, we have the vested rights where they can keep it open until they can pay the fees or whatnot. these kind of situations are causing a lot of headache between the assessor's office and the planning department. So this one in particular, there was some issues. Mrs. Stafford passed away. Mr. Lansing never monetarily provided that to the Staffords. Back in 2015, they had said, the Staffords had said that if Mr. Lansing didn't, do the closing documents, that they were either going to take him to civil court, and at that time, if it was unsuccessful, the county attorney said that we should rescind the resolution. So that's what we're here to talk about today. And not that they can't come back and do it again. Obviously, the resolution or the survey is already done, but the transfer of property was never made.
What year was that? It was 2014? That was me, right?
13.
13?
Oh, no, 15.
Yeah, it was me.
So,
oh, yeah. Since I can't read any of those, no, it's fine. Well, there's a.
You have the resolution there?
Yes.
Can I glance at it?
2. Yeah, so that's the strip, that's 15 acres, just off of Road G there, just north of Road G, that was to be transferred from the Stafford property, which is over here, to the Lansing property, which is this little area here. It was it was a natural drainage area. It just made sense at the time to do that, but again, nothing's ever happened.
So what are our options here?
We just wanted to go back to what it was beforehand, right?
Yeah, we'll just take
Just
that
abandon.
little yellow strip, we'll go back to the Stafford property over here.
We'll just abandon.
Get rid of this.
Yes, and we'll rescind resolution 13.
Okay. Do you need a
33.
motion to rescind that?
I wonder if we want we do need a motion to rescind it, but I wonder if we want another resolution rescinding it, something in writing.
Okay.
More than just it reflected in the minutes. I feel like that might be best, just a real short, and maybe I can draft one real quick.
And I did
actually.
send them certified letters, and I do have proof of certification in their file.
why would they not follow through? That doesn't make.
There's several of them. Like I said, this is one of many that I'll be bringing to you guys' attention. Some of them
go
are
to all
older
that
than
trouble, you think that you'd follow
Yeah,
through?
you'd think you'd.
But time in life happens, and the Stafford property is actually up for sale. So before that sells, we want to
Get it cleaned up.
I'm just wondering, like, how to make sure that it's clear that this thing's rescinded. I mean, obviously, if we do it, it'll be reflected in our minutes, but how do we keep track of these? I mean, will there be any record within your office if this is rescinded? That's why I'm thinking maybe we want another resolution that you keep with this, a planning resolution.
Okay, I can come up with something.
Does that make sense? I mean, or is it, would it be obvious to everybody working in planning that this thing had been rescinded?
Well, what
20
we
years from
normally
now?
do is just, on those copies, just draw the line through it and then attach the minutes, but we can absolutely do.
That's good enough for me.
Need a big red stamp that says rescinded.
Right.
I just want to make it clear, decades from now that that's what happened.
Okay.
And so you draw a line through it and attach the minutes. And so if anybody looks, it'll be obvious.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then we scan it and add the electronic copy to their file as well.
That's good enough. We can just do a motion.
I would move that the Montezuma County Board of Commissioners rescind Resolution AFT-13-0000033.
Second.
Motion and a second to rescind resolution AFT-13-0000033. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, and keep the proof of the certified letters and those types of
Yes.
things with that too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, now we have a review and a determination of a lot line adjustment within the Clampitt Estates.
Yeah, the Clampitt subdivision.
Are the Clampitts here?
No.
No.
So
Isn't that what they were called, the Clampitts?
They're out in Hollywood spending their oil money. Clampitts. Hillbillies, yeah. Jed Clampitt.
I thought that's what they
were. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Desms own two properties within the subdivision, this lot here and this lot here. The Trevithicks, they own this lot up here. They want to divide that middle lot in between.
I hate it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
No, that was not directed towards you.
Okay. They want to divide lot 4 of this subdivision halfway between the Trevithick and halfway between the Desm property. So they'll actually take a 5-lot subdivision, dividing that, turning it into a 4-lot subdivision. This one's pretty simple. We have non-opposition letters in the file. No one's opposing it. We're actually eliminating attractive land instead of creating one. So. No objections from any of the agencies either.
What'd they do, buy that lot and split it up and just?
Yeah, the Desms own the 2 lower lots, the 2 southern lots, and then the Trevithicks own the northern one. So they're just dividing that middle lot between the 2 of them.
Okay. No opposition, everybody's happy?
Everyone's happy.
Okay.
No additional water needs, no additional.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll move that the lot line adjustment within the Clampitt Estates 5-lot moderate subdivision, wherein lot 4 owned by Thomas and Julie Desm, located at 11046 Road 42, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 3.45 acres, more or less, will be divided between lot 3, owned by John and Elizabeth Trevithick, located at 11124 Road 42, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 3.34 acres, more or less. And lot 5 owned by Thomas and Julie Desm, be approved.
Second.
Motion is second to approve a determination of a lot line adjustment within the Clampitt Estates 5-lot moderate subdivision within lot 4 owned by Thomas and Julie Desmond, located at 11046 Road 42, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 3.45 acres, more or less, would be divided between lot 3 owned by John and Elizabeth Trevithick, located at 11124 Road 42. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I made that one lengthy, huh?
Okay.
And this is their plat. Now, John, I had a question on. We're borrowing Larry Don's.
And you won't be back yet, will you?
I won't. Sorry, Commissioner.
When?
That's not for this transaction, is it? Yeah. Oh, it is? Yeah. But we're okay with it, right?
I wasn't paying
We're
attention.
accepting
Wake up,
this.
Jim.
So. I'm trying not to sign it. We certainly don't have to. I'm not sure why they were requesting it, other than, I don't have a big problem with signing it, but you know what, let's not sign it. Right. Exactly. maybe they can something goes why they're asking for that, because I don't see a problem. It's just more kind of, okay, you tell us why.
Okay.
Have we?
We've reviewed this before.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Afternoon, Keith.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good, Keith.
Good.
You don't have to get up there. Thank you.
yes. That one, I'm sorry, I didn't get the picture started. So, what we're proposing to do with this planned unit development is essentially what we're doing with the Montezuma water planned unit development, or commercial or high impact permit, is ask for a notice to proceed by the commissioners, allow them to proceed with the development of their project without actually finalizing it. They still have some stuff to do with water situations, infrastructure, working with the fire department in regards to ingress, egress. We got to get those sign-offs and things like that. But just there hasn't been any opposition to it. Without a change in zoning, there's not another need for it to go back to the planning commission and then back to you guys again. But we do want to make sure that we're diligent in our efforts of a responsible development. So if we can just do a notice to proceed like we have with other permitting processes, that would allow them to move forward with a little bit of assurance that everything's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, you guys will rent these out to, sometimes summer travelers or people of stuff like that?
Short term. Yes.
Have you been approached by anybody, or do you know anything about collecting lodger's tax or anything?
I looked it up in the city.
Uh-huh.
So I looked in the city business licenses and all of that, and so there is, I believe if we're in that 3 mile, we're required, but I would check with the city on the lodger's tax.
But it'll be county lodger's tax, will it not? It won't be city lodger's tax.
So it'll be through the county.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, we'll do.
Good. You're doing your homework. That's
Well, I'm a
good.
CPA, so I know how to do. I know how to do.
She makes all the money I spend.
Yeah. So I've done it for other companies. So,
yeah. Well, good for you. Good. I'm glad you're
She's
on
a
it.
4-star applicant. You ask her for something, she is on it. she gets it to you.
There you go.
So yeah, I would make sure that we have all
good.
legal things done.
Good. So do we need to establish a motion here for
I don't think we.
to do a notice to proceed, or?
We don't usually do that, do we? We just say, yeah, this is probably going to be okay. Proceed.
Yeah, that's what you did with Montezuma Water Company.
I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah. I think start digging dirt and pounding nails.
Great. All right. We're looking forward. Well, I'm sort of looking forward to it.
You're going to increase your headaches by 1, 2, 3, 4-fold anyway. Huh?
Anyway, yes, sir.
Well, we had rentals before, so it's just moving them from here to here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This would be somewhat different. This is more than just renting to tourists and so forth. Our children will also have an option to come and live in these if they need to, and that would reduce our rental ability by one.
Or visit,
and that may happen. So, and other family members and friends can come, and when they come, it's only half price. Well, maybe 25%.
Charge them double, Keith. You charge them
Is that how
double.
you do that? Okay.
How big will they be?
They're about 830 square feet with the loft area and the downstairs.
Now, will you build them, or are they pre-built already?
No, I have a local contractor, and he's
he's good. He's on the spot, and so
We're getting them drafted by a local draftsperson. The plans N.M.P.M are using a local engineer, so we'll try to keep.
and Blaine is a general, so he's going to do it all. He's going to do the whole deal, and all the dirt work and the plumbing and everything. So.
Good enough.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
I thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Have our blessing.
Thank you.
And then, are you going to get James?
You're so welcome.
So,
You're so cool.
Well, thank you.
well,
Well,
for the folks
take
in
that
the,
home with you tonight, would you?
My pocket.
for the folks out in the audience, we have two cancellations. Actually, we have this assistant grant program, Cindy. She's not ready, and Doc's Marina is having some problems with the lake going down, and what was the
Rescheduled for September 11th.
rescheduled because his boat, his dock is high center, and
He's becoming a run aground.
so I guess we'll go with the attorney's report. And
Yeah, I don't think I have much more. I mean, I brought up a few things already earlier today. I did contact the NVIC attorney, but I haven't heard back from him. There's not anything else to report, I don't think.
Okay.
I've had some communications with Ken Capps, the U.S. Forest Service attorney. Nothing significant.
all right, and I think then we'll go to the county administrator report with Melissa Brunner.
I have a note of clarification. After we did the order, after we did the motion last week for the Claire Ormiston cancer funds, Sherry brought it to my attention that normally we do a transfer order, so I told her we would take care of that. Based on the motion from last week, we do an actual order so that she would have the proper documentation to move the money
Out of
for
Claire.
that
Okay.
patient.
I would move the adoption of order number 11-2017 for the transfer of the Clara Ormiston Fund.
I'll second.
Motion second to approve the transfer order number 11-2017 for the transfer of the Claire Ormiston Fund. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
That was clean up, just a report. Other than the sheriff, I have given everybody in the general fund preliminary information for their budget, so they have a chance to work on it while I'm gone. The other funds, health, road, weed, fleet, and landfill, is it health fund? I haven't got their stuff together yet. What I did is I sent you guys a sample of it, given 3 years history of the expenditures that they had and kind of the format for the budget, and I gave them a salary projection. I made worksheets where we can take and put, just change one number in that spreadsheet for a percentage on a salary increase. Although I don't know after Leslie was here this morning if that is anything besides zero. But so I put together a little packet for everybody, and the sheriff's office, the reason I haven't sent theirs out is their payroll is complicated, and with the retirement of the undersheriff, that's made a trickle-down effect, and I don't know if their salaries are correct. So I may send them all the other information without the personnel, but I'll send that out before I go today. So getting ready for budget.
Getting ready, and had the bomb dropped on us this morning.
So that's what I have, and I just got an email back from Shane. They barely sent it off. He says about the sidewalks. Gotcha. I know that Daniels is doing work in Park Davina, and Park is the only place that they're currently working. I'll check with Phil to get a better estimate of when they'll be in your neck of the woods and what I can do to put you on the top of the list. So.
Okay.
That's all.
And that's all?
That's all that I have.
Except for where are you going tomorrow and what for?
I'm leaving for 10 days to gain a daughter-in-law.
All right, James, we're ready for you.
By the end of the
Your
week,
family's
I'll
enlarging.
I'll report back. It was easier to give them away.
Yeah.
She's probably easy, but my daughter referred to her brother as Boomzilla. So.
Roomzilla.
It's not Bryson, it's
Roomzilla.
so
Roomzilla.
I'll let you know which way it worked out. We'll take her and throw him out or what? I think
Okay.
it's gonna be fun. It's
Yeah.
just gonna be fun.
Got one question. Was on that insurance change for the sheriff's department.
Insurance or
FPPA
retirement?
Retirement, yeah. Am I right that there's a possibility that won't go through?
What
On the
I got
voting,
some
is that what
information
you're?
from Cora. Cora sent us information that said, wait a second, in order, these are the rules that we have for you if someone wants to pull out. Because of the requirement that we have 100% participation in Cora, that if the sheriff wants to pull out, that's going to invalidate our plan. So we're going to have to cancel our plan, make a new plan that has everybody except the sheriff's office employees, and create a new plan. This is complication that they say. And in order for that to happen, Cora is telling us that all employees in the county, that 65% of all employees have to vote that they want that to happen before we can allow the sheriff's people to move their money out. So I asked Sheriff Gallen to share that with FPPA, and I have a feeling we're going to get into a lawyer thing between the FPPA lawyers and the Cora lawyers about can they really do that. Because now, of course, it depends on what kind of plan that you believe in. The Cora is a defined contribution plan, which says this is how much money we'll put in. FPPA is a defined benefit plan that says when you put into this, you're going to be guaranteed this benefit when you get to that. So it's a preference on which one is better. Depends on who you talk to. If you're selling one, yours is better. If you don't like that, you go sell for the other. So I think they're having a little bit of a headbutting situation here. And I mean, obviously, it's not a great idea to say that our core plan is going to be non-compliant, but I want to get some of that stuff between the two of them worked out. Is this? And we have a new representative for Cora, so she says, to her knowledge, no one has ever left Cora to go to FPPA. Now the FPPA salesman says people do this all the time.
Coming all the time.
So it depends on which side of the sales pitch you're on. So
But what does it do to the rest of the county employees? If you say we're going to have to rewrite a new plan, is it going to be the identical plan? Or is it
change the definition of the employees who are in it? Right now it says 100% mandatory participation if you are a full-time employee of Montezuma County.
So that doesn't sound like a big deal, but it doesn't change any benefits or anything.
Everything would be the same, except it would be 100% of all employees except for the sheriff's office. But they're saying that it's complicated because you have to cancel this one and create a new one. But at that same time, people are, oh, yay, if they cancel my plan, that means that's my money and I can have it. That doesn't mean for James, who wants to take his money out of his retirement, that there's not anything changed in his employment or retirement that's going to allow him as an individual to grab his money and go do something different without being horribly penalized. But he as an individual, even though we're changing plan, wouldn't be able to take his money and go do something different.
But he still gets to vote, and we get to vote.
I believe so.
That's where it's going to get tricky
where
because
it's going to get tricky is all the 100% of Montezuma County employees. Now, the sheriff's office employees go on 65 if they want the new plan, but then that's 70 of 250. So we're going to have to get 65% of the 250 that say, yes, we want the sheriff's office to leave. So that may, if we don't get that 65%, that between the lawyers, we'll have to figure out, can that really happen, or does everything stay the same? So.
It might make sense to let the SO vote first, because if it fails again, we don't need to develop or orchestrate a new vote for the rest of the employees.
The one piece that I have with that too, and I think they're doing their counseling or their explanation or their
Marketing.
Sales pitch.
sales pitch right now before they actually do that, and they want this to start effective December 1st. I don't understand this, so that they can get their money in for January. But if that's the case, that may have to be delayed if they pass the 65% that they want to move forward. Then I think there needs to be a time for an education piece for us, the other Montezuma County employees. And I don't think it's my job personally to go and educate James and then go to James and then go talk to Doug, go talk to the health department, each one of those, to do that. So I don't know where that next step is. So it may cause a delay in when that can become effective. So.
Any other simple questions?
Any other short answer questions you have?
I'll refrain from anything
He
else.
said, you aren't going to ask me any more questions.
All right, James?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Alrighty. So I've got a couple of things I just sent to you. And I'm going to start in on a couple others while you've got some time. Okay. We got a notice from the BLM. We got an optional reply. Basically, we can comment on a gravel pit expansion. This one is over in Durango. It's the Montoya pit up there by Three Springs. And, you know, I don't know if we want to comment on something like this or not. I don't know why we even received it. Normally we don't. Occasionally something like this will come through. So anyway, just want to let the commissioners know about that one. If we do want to comment, I mean, it is it's public land. I mean, you can comment on it. Although we typically refrain from making those kind of comments too much in other counties unless there's some kind of a direct relationship to us. This one's kind of a little unclear as far as the direct relationship.
You guys okay? Just let it go?
I think that's way out of our purvey.
Okay. Let's see. We oh. Okay. Yeah, sure, that'd be fine. Okay, this is the letter that went to that has been prepared for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe regarding the water project. And the commissioner's suggestion last time was run this past the road department, which I did. And Rob did include a couple things down in here. Basically, he wanted to have some time to coordinate with them on the front end. And so that's number 5 there. And then also under number 2, we added putting the Montezuma County permits in. Permits for crossing and trenching and utility permits. So those will all be attached to this package when it goes out, as will the floodplain development permits. I think we've made all the other corrections the commissioner suggested. And so anyway, I think we've got a I think we've talked to the departments we need to talk to at this point. And I do have a clean copy here if the commissioners decide to sign. Yeah.
Good, Jim? This is their water, water line, drinking water. It's a new pipeline. They're doing a new pipeline.
From Cortez to Toya. Domestic water. Yes.
I would move that the Board of County Commissioners of Montezuma County send a letter dated August 28, 2017 to the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, in care of Jenna Jorgensen, Environmental Coordinator.
Second.
Motion and second to send a letter in support of the Ute Mountain Tribe's water project to Jenna Jorgensen, the Environmental Coordinator from Montezuma County Commissioners. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How many copies do you need?
Just one copy is good. Okay, that'll work.
McPhee?
That's McPhee, yep. So, talked to Darlene Marcus. Of course, she's on her way out the door. But the last thing I wanted to visit with her about and kind of get to talking to the new guy about is regarding Yucca House. And so we're still trying to figure out what we can possibly get out of that land acquisition. So Derek did not know the answer to whether or not federal property is federal property and whether or not we can make that heavy. So anyway, he's investigating that. I pitched the idea to him and told him about House Creek, and he certainly didn't say no way, nothing like that. Sounded relatively open to it, which, I mean, I'm not surprised by that. But that facility is, it's a heavy load for him, maintenance-wise. So we will hear back on that. But at the same time, also was talking with Darlene, on about Sage Hen. So we've been doing some investigation up there, and want to point out that a lot of Sage Hen is already opened back up. And actually, this spur down here, this is opened up, and this is opened back up here too. So what they've done here is they put in some boulders, and especially right here. As you can see, this dot dash line is kind of where they put boulders in, and they put them in between the trees, so that you're actually kind of using the vegetation. One thing that it's kind of apparent up there, some of the boulders are really undersized. I mean, some of those you could probably move with a Volkswagen if you wanted to throw a strap on it. So that's one of our suggestions is if we're going to be using boulders, they have to be substantial. Yeah.
Manipulate them around.
Yeah, those little ones, we got to stockpile them, use them for riprap. There's other uses for them. But big ones is what we need for boulders. But also kind of investigating fences and things like that. So fences may actually, if you kind of use them like you're doing these boulders in between vegetation and stuff, you may be able to get more bang for your buck out of it. So we'll keep investigating that. But anyway, these are open right now to full-size vehicles. So right here, and the spur all the way down here, these little tags that come off it, we've got some boulders out in front. They need really kind of rearranged more. They're closed off, so you can't drive down in there at this point. But my point is that we've got a significant amount of access down there already, right now. And also up here at the main gate, you can get a 50-inch vehicle or less all the way down into this area too. So it is already open to ATVs at this point.
You know why they did it 50? We were having a discussion about that because it just seems like everybody, a lot of people are going to side-by-sides, and they're wider than 50 inches, right?
Yeah, they are, yeah. Yeah, they're more like 60 inches, so, yeah. I think they went to 50 inches just to kind of ensure that they weren't getting, the side-by-sides.
They can pull a trailer.
They can pull a trailer
with a jet ski on it.
I got you.
Yeah. So. Now, technically, you probably could with an ATV too. They're just kind of assuming the trailer may not be,
Right.
So this is actually a pretty good place here, and they're working really good with the landform because what you can't see here is you got a pretty steep drop off right here. So to us, it looks like a pretty good place for kind of a loop turnaround. Not a lot of real danger for access, just because it's too steep. Couldn't drive anything down over it. So we'll try to work with those areas. I mean, you get a lot of bang for your buck if you throw some boulders out and get those areas back in action right away. So they are back in action. I think they could use a little fine tuning, I guess is what I'm saying with it. Okay, we did get the cultural information for the area up around the corrals. I'm trying to work out a layout for a parking area up in there. It is going to be difficult. There's, the way the cultural areas are plotted out, it's almost like the corrals right on top of them. But we will do our best to kind of thread the needle on that. But I do want to point out there's some other alternatives, like right in here, for example, big flat area here. There may be some other areas along here that could be alternatives. So I think we'll just try to investigate those best we can.
See what's the simplest, most
Absolutely.
area to do it. Yeah.
And I think for that parking area up there at the corrals, in a lot of ways, really delineating that a little bit better. Weeds have grown over in that gravel to the point where half that parking lot isn't being used. You can't see it there. So better delineation on that. We'll make the most out of what we got, and we can try to find some other possibilities there too. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at with Sage Hen. We are continuing to work through some of the range of possibilities that we have down there. But I think the message for the public is that a lot of it's back in action already, and by next year we should have
And you was having that
something worked
conversation with Darlene?
Yes.
So the Dolores Norwood Road brought up?
So yes, the Dolores Norwood Road was brought up, and so she still doesn't understand why we're having a problem with that road. With that realignment, I mean, it's all one road.
It's the only road.
We're on.
The only road.
Yeah.
So do we need to wait for her replacement then? Probably.
At this point, probably so, Larry. I mean, I think tomorrow is, or maybe today is her last day.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I mean, we're with her replacement at this point. Now, he seemed like he, we're going to have to get him up to speed on the stuff, and it's all confusing, it'll take him a little bit, but
well, maybe
he seemed like a good guy. So.
Maybe they'll reach out and we can have a short meeting,
Sure.
or, be on our agenda. That would be good.
Invite him back.
So the Flume RFP is out. It's on the county website. It's been released in the paper. It'll run in the paper one more time this week, and also in the Durango Herald. So hopefully we'll get some bites on that.
How did you end up with the funding?
With the funding, we're coming in really good on the funding, except that we still haven't got our check from the Utes. So I think that is the last check that we need to track down. So anyway,
How much was it?
That one's going to be $3,000. It's a good one.
Did you talk to Preston down there, Preston Forson?
Yeah, I did talk to Preston. So, but we'll have to rattle the chain a little bit more. So so that is the big one that's hanging out. Other than that, the girls have been really aggressive about it. And I think they got it down within like $1,700 of what,
from 8,000.
Yeah, down from 8,000. So yeah. So now the Utes don't come through. That's big. I mean, but anyway, not much the girls could have done about that. I think they did an amazing job of swinging it to begin with. So. Did want to bring up the idea of a road count down there on 35.6, up at the summit. When we talked about that last week, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Why should we have to go out there and do it? And I started kind of thinking maybe a little bit that maybe there's some data that we could make some use of out there on that. So I just thought that maybe we want to evaluate that ourselves. BLM aside, and just knowing what some of the numbers are down in there currently, and if there are any changes that happen over, especially over something like Labor Day weekend, if we were able to get counters out there, by the end of the week or something, that would be kind of interesting. Maybe right before hunting season, if it's too soon to get them out, at the end of the week. So. But one of the things that would help us with is to kind of understand what kind of traffic patterns are looking like down there. But if we have to go for any grants or anything like that, that kind of data is usually pretty helpful.
Have you talked to Ron about the difficulty of putting the road? Doesn't the road department have the road counters?
Actually, it's Clint Watson now. So I did.
I'm sorry, gotcha.
Yeah, I did put a bug into Clint, and he said he's ready to try those, set those up anytime. So, but that one would provide probably some useful data for us too. Anyway, I just want to bring that up. Yeah, because I looked through the data that we do have, and we haven't got anything on that road.
What do you think about that, Commissioner Weber?
Well, I thought the idea was to get a base count before you anticipated extra traffic down that road.
Yeah, so that's why I think doing something right away pretty much is, before this thing becomes kind of publicly known, more widespread.
Do you think it'll spike at Labor Day? Do you think there's going to be there's nothing down there to go?
It's just a holiday weekend. You just kind of got to figure that if people are out kind of wandering around, that's probably a weekend that it might happen. I don't know. I'm kind of, that's why I brought up hunting season too. I kind of almost anticipate maybe a spike during hunting season. That would be one of the things. I think, for our local culture, a lot of our guys are going to be out there poking around this fall. Always looking for a new place, So,
What do you think, James? I think that'll put the road counter out and see what kind of activity there is down there.
I have no problem with doing it. Just, I'm not sure that we're getting the idea right here. If we put a road counter out now, anticipation for the holiday or for the hunting season, to me, we need to do it twice. We need to do it to get a base count.
Right.
And then either holiday or hunting season or something like that to get an idea if there's any extra traffic. That's
sure. Yeah, I mean, in one way you can kind of accomplish that is run your sample period long enough so we get a spike over one weekend. If you run it for a 2-week period, you can run it for 3 weeks even to kind of see what kind of averages. In fact, that's better. I mean, the longer you run it, the better your data is going to be. So, but anyway, that's sort of how in my mind we would account for that kind of stuff. So anyway, it would be
go ahead.
Something that maybe we can. Okay, yeah, I'll talk to someone about that
then.
then.
More than what we got now.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just sort of my personal interest in that is that if we wind up having to apply for grants, I've got to have information to put in, and having some solid numbers is something I always ask for. Okay. Okay, I guess that kind of covers everything I was fixing to talk about today, I think. So, anything else we wanted to discuss?
So we met, her name was, actually I got it on my phone. She is Corey Gardner's regional director. Her name is Betsy Bear, and she said that she could get us a meeting with the head of SHPO in Montezuma County.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of pull. She said that if we contacted her this week, that she could help us set up to get them down here on the for the Phil's World expansion, for Sand Canyon, and whatever other issue we have.
Okay.
So I'll tell you what, I'll give you this card,
Okay.
and maybe you can make a copy of it. And
I can
give
do
me the
that.
card
I'll
back.
just bring it back.
Okay.
All right.
And then secondly, I was told when they do these travel management plans that if, what I'm thinking of is the RICO. I know that they said last week that they said that they would take comments. Something that's really important is if there's an area that you wanted to say propose an ATV track or a mountain bike expansion or a horse, that it's best to do it because these what are these, like 20-year plans or something like that, and so that down the road, if somebody ends up wanting to do something like that, it's almost like an act of Congress to get it done.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, I know it's in Dolores County, but is there any place that we've heard from ATV interest or mountain bike interest about putting a comment on this section of the RICO? I tell you where I think of, and nobody's told me this, and I think of Groundhog right above. They had they used to have an ATV trail that went around to the left, what would be to the north, and then it came back in up there at Black Mesa, and then they closed that off. It was a very popular ATV trail.
They did some expansion up there too around Lone Cone and north of Groundhog. They added some. We ought to get that map from.
Okay.
Oh, they showed it to us out there through either through.
Is this when you was out there, Matt, with them?
Yeah, out there at the office out there.
Yeah.
The Dolores commissioners were there also. Yeah. Have them send you a copy of that map, and more specifically the area around Groundhog and Black Mesa with their what they opened new and what they closed.
Okay.
Because they did make some accommodations there. They did expand a bunch of that up around the Cone and up north of Groundhog.
Okay.
They opened up some stuff.
I kind of recall that too. It seems like maybe like that road that went down there, down to that overlook over Little Fish Creek. It sort of seems like that road was maybe open.
They closed a little bit of that because it looped off and was a dead end or something, but they kept the main route of that down there open, I think. And, so have them get us.
Okay. All right. And then they probably, there's also a route that's four-wheel drive or ATV but it goes, the road that goes between Lone Cone and Groundhog Peak. It'd be interesting on that map to see if that's still open, because that makes a big loop.
Okay, so, I think we've got plenty of time to make comments on that. They said they would take it any time, so we'll see. We don't meet next week, do we?
Next week, don't we?
Holiday.
Oh, Labor Day, that's right, Labor Day.
So we should plan to kind of review this, maybe, that map pretty close on maybe like the 11th.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Maybe we'll do it in the afternoon or something, we'll have a little more time.
And like I said, I haven't had anybody contact me, but I would just hate to leave something out there that shouldn't be put on the table.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I haven't had many comments on this one at all. So, Casey McClain is, he's made some proposals for some trail suggestions that, he thinks would help. So I know there is representation out there. So we'll, I think he's got some of that stuff covered.
Okay.
I did, you kind of jarred my memory too. Melissa sent me an email today.
I know.
Yeah, so, we've talked about it before, about Dolores County taking over and doing some of the maintenance down on the campground down the lower Dolores River. And so if we don't have any objections to that, I guess I could just put together a quick letter to them and tell them, hey, we're supportive.
I think the Cabot Creek Campground and
Ferris?
Okay. The two they wanted to.
Yeah, that was.
Especially Cabot, because I think it was the only one you said had sidewalks for.
That's what she told me. It was the only campground that they had access to.
Sidewalks for handicapped.
People to be able to camp. So that's what they're interested in.
Yeah. Good.
Also, they were very interested in pursuing the trail.
Yes.
So what I asked James to do was get in touch with them and see if we could schedule them on one of their weeks on a Monday in September with Leanne and stuff and get it all coordinated. If that fits our schedule.
They sent us, and I didn't bring mine, but for that Rim Rocker Trail in our bags they gave us for the meeting. I think that's probably why she brought that up.
Okay.
They had little decals that said the Rim Rock Trail, the trail from
Montrose
to Moab. And they had a little booklet in it. I actually have it in my house.
Kind of a little trail guide kind of thing,
It was pretty neat.
All right, well. So, and I did talk to Derek actually about that Sage Hen connection. So that's still on the table. We're still trying to move that thing forward. I hate to even suggest maybe a field trip with the Dolores County Commissioners down there.
Well, we could include that in Ferris Campground's not very far from down there at the bottom of the. I mean, if we wanted to go look at that, we could do that too. Yeah.
So anyway, we could. I can investigate that. See if they want to do that. Heck, maybe when I had the commissioner meeting down there at Ferris Campground.
Have a weenie roast and everything.
Oh God, All right, trying to think outside of the box here, guys.
That would be nice autumn day,
Okay, I guess that's been all I had. Of course, I'm available if anything else comes up. I'll get you a copy of this later on.
Okay. All right. That takes us to the County Commissioners report. Which one of you commissioners would like to go first?
How about it, James?
The big thing, I think, with commissioners was the Western District CCI meeting. And the long and the short of it was that most of the meeting was reviewing legislative suggestions from various counties in CCI. And it was quite interesting. We had quite a bit of discussion. It took all morning to do it. But that was the impressive thing to me. And I think that now that we've seen that, we need to do some work on it ourselves and give it to later on. I think it has to be by the 13th, is that right?
The 13th of October, but the first one, which they would go over again, is probably need to have it done by the 29th of September.
Yeah, right. I keep getting them backwards.
So we was thinking we could take the proposals and then have a discussion here in the room at our commissioner meeting for 30 or 40 minutes, and then
you take on the minute.
Okay, or an hour or whatever, and vote.
But it's good stuff, yeah. And see how we vote on it.
Where would you like that region?
Has to be done by the 29th, you said?
Yeah, we get by the 29th of September.
18th, maybe?
18th. The 18th will be when we have federal lands. Makes the region.
Yeah.
Do you care if it's okay? Do you want it in the morning, the afternoon, is there a better time?
I would think that the end of a regular meeting and just make it a work session.
Why don't you shoot for the 18th?
And use that handout that we had from the CCI.
Yes, proposed legislative issues, yeah.
Do you still have it?
I do.
Okay.
He didn't. I don't have one.
Oh, I've got it.
Yeah, and I've got it too. Okay. All right, and then.
That's all on it.
Okay.
Quit on that.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes, I attended that same meeting with all of us were at that meeting, which was kind of nice. And the one meeting that I went to, and James and Melissa was there, was they had the business meeting for the Montezuma Historical Society last Thursday evening. Had a spaghetti dinner and did their election of officers and ran their business meeting, and then showed us their new Lake Vista Grange, which is probably ultimately not going to be big enough for them to have their museum, but they are starting to get some of their artifacts out, and they're at least getting a place to consolidate their vast inventory of historic antiquities that they have scattered all over the place. And so I think it's going to give them a real kind of a nice base camp for them to start, and they're still looking for a museum, and that's going to be their ultimate goal, is to find a place that they can set up a museum. This will kind of be their storage headquarters and their business office and that sort of thing. But it was a very nice evening and nice dinner, and got to see a lot of people you don't see every day. Yeah.
I was impressed with the way that they've got everything boxed up, cataloged.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sealed in
job.
acid. They've taken all their papers and newspapers and put them in folders and binders where they, I guess it's some form of acid that caused the deterioration of the paper, and they've protected all that stuff, and they've done a great job in taking care of the antiquities they've got. They just don't have a place to display them all, and so that's still their ultimate goal. Les Nunn gave a nice presentation on history of Montezuma County and the Lakeview area, pretty much the Lakeview area and stuff. Very nice meeting.
I went to the Housing Authority meeting on Thursday, and the Cortez Journal showed up there. There was a short discussion about the caucus building, and well, it wasn't a very short discussion, actually. It's kind of a windy. It's an ongoing discussion about the caucus building, and I think there's a special meeting on the 14th that was set up for the 14th of September. to further discuss the caucus building. I believe that's at 6 o'clock. And that's all I have.
Is there a proposal to use the Hopkins building now?
There's always been a proposal.
Well, yeah, most people came a year ago or so to talk to you all. And are they still, is that group still interested in it?
No, that group is interested in the housing authority purchasing it.
The building, but the land around it.
And land around it.
Oh, they want the housing authority to purchase all of that, 6 acres or whatever it is.
Time does that meeting start, Larry, Dawn?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
My beef with it is that their contract is up in October. They paid $175,000 for it. If my understanding is correctly. Well, they haven't paid for it. They have a contract saying that they would pay $175,000, but they want to sell it to the housing authority for $200,000. And they haven't put a dime down.
This group that was.
Yes. Where if the housing authority was to wait in 2 months, just like that, they'd save the taxpayer $25,000.
Does that contract expire in October?
Yes.
But the housing authority is not a county.
No, it's not a county.
So,
all mines in the county.
But this is not saving Montezuma County's taxpayers.
Let's say the housing authority.
It would save their organization.
Yeah.
$25,000.
Right.
Well, they're not a for-profit. I mean, where do you think their funding comes from? Taxes.
I don't know. I don't think they get any money from taxes.
Housing
authority does?
I think they get subsidized on their rental units. They rent them out for less than market value, and I think they get reimbursed
from federal government
monies.
But not local. I think
no, not local
taxes. It
taxes.
isn't local.
No.
Montezuma County taxes.
No, but
that's what I actually know.
No, you would be correct, but in my opinion, if I'm sending it to the federal government, if I'm sending it to
it's still our tax money, yeah.
it's still a tax, and it still came out of my pocket.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
A little bit more indirect anyway,
I guess I don't know where the argument would be if you're going to save $25,000. I don't care if it's tax or if it's not a tax. If it's a business decision to save $25,000 by 60 days, I think that's a wise business decision.
Is that meeting open to the public, Larry, Don?
Yes. I would love for you guys to fill the room. That's it. So at this time we have, unless there's anything else, we have public comment.
Gotcha. Yeah, just point, I'll get it.
Thank you.
Gayla Pock, 7672 Kenny Road, CC, Pleasant View. I'm still waiting to find out what all the issue was with Scott Davis. When he resigned, the paper reported that it was for health reasons and he had made a mistake on the Kinder Morgan something. But at that time, John Baxter said he couldn't really comment on what kind of a mistake it was because he was still researching it. At this time, can you tell us what kind of mistake it was? How much this has cost the county? How much it will cost overall? Because this is an issue that could be big dollars, I guess. I don't know. And as soon as Leslie Bugg was appointed as assessor, she started working on reappraising residential and ag land. did that have something to do with this mistake that Mr. Davis apparently made? Or was this just the timing was coincidental? I just would like to know what the rest of the story is.
I mean, I don't want to talk too much about what my thoughts are on it, just because we do still have ongoing things with Kinder Morgan, legal issues with them that we're battling out. But I don't know if anybody, to me it was a surprise that he resigned. I don't completely understand why he said what he said when he resigned. I wish he hadn't. And I think it was a surprise to everybody, but I can't speak for everybody else. I don't know all of the reasons he resigned. I mean, you can read the letter as well as I can, but we do still have ongoing issues with Kinder Morgan, and so I don't want to get into what I might concede or disagree with as far as what he did. But it was a surprise to me that he resigned. I mean, I didn't see that coming in.
Okay, what about the reappraisal of residential and ag? Was that associated with him, or why did that come up at the same time?
You know, I think that that did happen while he was the assessor, but I don't know if he viewed that as a problem or not. I have no idea if he viewed that as a problem or not. But apparently, right around that time, the assessor's office at least was noticing that there were some issues, and so they addressed them. Maybe he knew that was an issue, maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't think he mentioned that in his letter. If I
No,
right.
He didn't, that I'm aware of. But the coincidence, or the
Right.
timing was there, and I'm just wondering, is there a connection?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for that. I don't know. Maybe if anybody else knows it, but I don't know if anybody knows other than Scott.
Okay. Okay, so we don't really know that much more than we did, but thank you for hearing me anyway.
Thanks for asking.
Is there a way that, I don't know if it would, well, okay, I have a question. I don't have a comment. M.B. McAfee, 22277 County Road 20. So the discussion this morning about when Leslie was here and she was talking about the Kinder Morgan assessment, abstract, okay. And then there was some comment made about somehow money from the state being restricted because of some other money. I don't understand. Keenan, you're the one who said something that caused me to say to myself, I don't understand that, and I wanted to ask at the time, but it seems. Maybe it's just a conversation. I think I know.
Yeah.
Can I try this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll try. The abstract of assessment is a preliminary assessment of what the properties are worth in Montezuma County. There's a preliminary one that's due August 25th that people use to start their budgeting process. So anybody who's collecting taxes needs kind of like this preliminary thing so they can start their budget. CDE requires it for the schools, but then I'm going to look at that information and start using it for how much money we might have for us as a county. But the mosquito district, the fire districts, all of them need a preliminary to kind of get an idea of that, because in December there's a 5 to 10 day window that they have to say, this is what our meal assessment needs to be for our tax budget.
For our tax budget.
So that's part of it. And what they were saying at the same time, the state changed the residential. There's a percentage, you have an assessment, and then for residential, that if your house is worth $200,000, let's say $100,000, because I might be able to do this in my head. It used to be assessed at 7.92%. So that would have been taxed at $7,920. So the state, in their infinite wisdom, because of all the growth on the Front Range,
the rampant residential growth in the metro areas on the Front Range,
they're collecting too much money based on the residential. So the state made a blanket change that makes that now you can assess it at 7.2.
Oh.
So the difference for us is being able to take a $100,000 home and assessing it at 7,920 or 7,200.
I see.
So if we all had $100,000 homes, that's not that big a deal, but we got $200,000 and $300,000 homes. That's how they're adjusting it on the Denver side, so that they won't be collecting so much money. But those of us who our houses
Yes, I see.
growing,
Okay.
it makes a difference. So what she's saying with, we have assessed values on a residential going up, but by the time we take that percentage from the 7.92 to the 7.2, that
Yes.
offsets, and then the oil and gas
Is down
production
lower.
being down. That's where we came up with, and I did the fast calculation that said, you know, well, that's $500,000. I'm not real excited about that in my
yeah.
budget. So,
Okay.
does that
Yeah,
help?
yeah.
explain that?
The whole
It went really quick.
interplay of taxes and stuff
It's
is
a formula
confusing.
Lieutenant Gallagher.
Yes, yeah, I figured that had something to do with that. So, but just getting it all together, I could never say that in a coherent sentence. So thank you for saying that. Thank you.
But with two different pieces, but it, you know, what's going on
Yeah.
good for them over there is not necessarily helping us over here.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I understand. Thank you, Melissa.
And so what your feeling is that there is a possibility, a good possibility, that we would be $500,000 short.
Until, you know, I'm gonna have to get that and look at that. It's quite possible we might be $500,000 short. If we're $514 million lower in assessed valuation, that's $500 million less to assess the 10.38 mills on. Yeah, I'm gulping a little bit. Not exactly wanting to have a wonderful vacation.
Well, but you are going to.
I'm going to. I'm not going to think about it. But
I'll
you know,
still be here.
that's, you know, that's a great realization, and hopefully when we run through the calculations, that's not a reality, but I want to be wrong.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Greg? All right.
Move to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, you are. Come on,
Okay,
Greg.
I'll move to adjourn.
There must be something.
Come on, Greg, come up and at least tell us your name and your address.
He moved to
There's
adjourn.
a motion on the
There is. Just hang it.
There's a motion to, there's a motion to second to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye.